7-5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Connor's in Andrew's chair this morning. Sean Rodman's in his. Austin Jones is in his. Sean Rodman's in back producing the show, and we appreciate you jumping in early here on Kincade Salciunas on this Thursday morning, where I bet you Connor got some sleep because it seemed like a night where I didn't have to stay up till dark 100.
One of the very few
nice.
recently.
It's been wild. I mean, there's been something to do every night. There's been something to watch every night, and we've got one of those nights tonight. We have one of those nights tonight where all the storylines are sort of beginning to collide, and honestly, that's where we're at right now. Everything's colliding. Andrew DeCecco will join us in a couple hours as we break down the 2 weeks till the NFL draft. And that big story, honestly, I don't think, at least in the 6 years I've been home, I don't think the NFL draft has had less attention than it's had this year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Is it the A.J. Brown story? Or is it the Sixers and Flyers being a little more interesting?
Yeah, I think it's more the nature of it's two things. It's one, the winter sports teams are both in the middle of a playoff push together, which takes up a lot of your attention. We'll be talking Flyers and Sixers today with a double feature tonight. But I also think it's because the track record of Howie Roseman has never been more solid when it comes to the draft. In previous years and stretches, the Eagles would have big drafts, and it would be, oh God. All right, well, Howie's weakness is the draft. Will he make the right decision here? And now, looking back at what he's done with premium picks in the last 3 drafts in a row, I think people feel a lot more comfortable with the idea of the draft with Howie.
All right, well, let's get started with the team that did play yesterday because we have the Sixers. Yeah, we have the Sixers playing tonight. We have the Flyers playing tonight, and we'll talk about both of those games coming up with you in just about 8 minutes as we preview the two that will be in action tonight, the two teams that will maybe give you a little bit of a sleepless night tonight, depending on the outcome. The Phillies gave you a listless performance yesterday. It was a pathetic performance on Wednesday afternoon. Terrible. The Phillies lineup is anemic. We're talking now 20 scoreless innings. The team shut out over the last 20 innings, stumbling to a 6-6 start. And yesterday afternoon was just horrendous. There was no fight. There was no juice, no energy at all. Now look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. People got freaked out a little bit by the beginning of the season. People are going to get freaked out by what they saw the last few days. But, Connor, I'm refusing to do that. But one thing that I'm seeing, my biggest concern was the whole Dave Dombrowski being very content to roll it back. We're going to run this team back. We got a good club. Get a good club. I don't think they got that good a club, and I didn't think that it was that good as far as an offensive club. And early on, there's reason for concern.
I'm not ready to say that they don't have that good of a club.
Well, how about just answering what I said, though? There's reason for concern because of what you've seen the last 3 years, that it's repeating again, that this lineup is...
Now, why would that be concerning for where we're at right now in early April? Because if the lineup repeats what they've done in regular seasons, they're going to win a bunch of games.
Oh, they will.
And the division. And all of this will come down to the culmination of the postseason. So there's nothing that I'm worried about in the regular season. And if your problem is, hey, this team looks very much like the postseason disappointing teams, yeah, it's going to. Pretty much all year long. We saw last year with this Phillies team, they significantly changed their approach for a long stretch of the season where they cut down on strikeouts, the power numbers dropped, but they got more comfortable with playing smaller ball. Maybe I don't think this Phillies team will ever play small ball, but
is smaller ball even a term?
I'm going to trademark it.
Okay, yeah, you might have to do that.
But even with that, we see them go into the postseason, and it felt very much the same from the offense. Even though last year I felt like we saw something different in the style they played for a long stretch. It's just you. I don't know how to tell people to let this go because the valid concerns are out there, but it's just too early for me.
Okay, what are the valid concerns? This is how you could maybe make your case that somebody would agree with you. What are the valid concerns? Because I see a lot of valid concerns with this team.
Yeah. There's not enough balance in the lineup, and there's not enough depth to fix that when guys go cold.
Okay, can I ask you this, and this is where it's frustrating. Now, I'm just going to go to my own little group chat of people chatting during the games from yesterday. This is the same, I can't repeat, same stuff we've watched the last 3 years, and none of it was addressed. What do you say?
What is the same stuff, though? Like, what did you see in those 2 games where they get shut out? Yeah, it's annoying. They get shut out 2 games, and the offense looks really rough right now. They've been sputtering. Even that Colorado series, they have the offensive explosion, and then 2 quiet games at the dish. Luckily,
they had the one inning. Honestly, they had the 1 inning in Colorado.
Yeah,
that's all they had.
Right.
Nothing else was even. It was pathetic from that point on.
But I don't know what you're going to see. Like, what do people want to see that makes them feel like this team is different? Like, maybe that's what I need to hear from people is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for Bryson Stott to hit 300? He's not going to. Are you looking for JT Realmuto to hit 25 home runs this year? He's not going to. The nature of this team is what it is, and I don't know how people can rightfully expect them to look significantly different. And to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, at least not where we're at right now.
Your opportunity to chime in will be on the text line at 610-632-0975 if you want to get a early text in, and Austin will be checking those throughout the course of the morning. I look at a few things, and valid or not, what's more troubling to you? The fact that Christopher Sanchez hasn't looked himself, the lineup being weak, or Alvarado looking awful? Joe Zempic looks terrible.
Yeah, he's been rough.
He looks terrible. And by the way, all that weight's back.
I'm more worried.
Maybe a few pounds extra, too.
I guess Alvarado would probably be the number one, but he's not.
I expected him to be a big part of what they have.
Yeah.
He is a big part of what's a problem so far.
Yeah, he has not been good on the mound, fielding, spotting, anything. And you have to imagine that'll come around because the stuff is still so good, still throws so hard, and has great movement. But the good thing is they have more answers in the bullpen than you have. In the past, Jose Alvarado has been, at points, the de facto closer for this baseball team in recent years. And now he is your third best high-leverage arm. And you also have the emergence of Tanner Banks, who can be a lefty high-leverage guy, at least right now. We'll see if we get to the point where you trust him for a postseason game. But even the Alvarado concern is not major to me because you have so many other pieces in that bullpen. We'll see what Tim Meza is from the left side, who's had a really, really good start to the year. So while Alvarado is probably the most valid, like, this guy doesn't look great right now.
No, he looks terrible.
He is, of those issues, the smallest part of the team.
Sanchez.
Not worried.
Not worried at all.
No.
Doesn't give you any reason for pause.
He threw incredibly in the World Baseball Classic. He has been as consistent as they come. I wonder how much of it is mental. Because for him, he's in a different spot this year. He gets the brand new contract where it's essentially an extension from the financial point, but it's another sizable financial commitment to him. And also,
I would think that's a good thing.
Well, it shows the faith, but with money comes pressure. And with Zach Wheeler not being there, like Christopher Sanchez, opening day starter, the guy, Cy Young runner-up last year, while we've known he's been good for a while, this feels like the first year with heavy, heavy expectations on him. And I wonder if he's just getting used to being the guy in the rotation.
I'm not that alarmed, but the other night, 11 hits, I was alarmed.
Yeah.
That's alarming.
Well, it's a command thing. He's getting behind in the counts, and with that, he hasn't been spotting the sinker well, so when you miss over the plate, you're going to get touched.
And this lineup looks really big. Bryson Stott, see.
That's something that...
Bryson Stott's just... He can't be an everyday player.
No, he's not.
What happened to Bryson Stott and what he was supposed to be? I don't understand. There's no... Remember all the... Hey... He's going to win a batting title one day, Bryson Stott. He couldn't win a batting title in A-ball right now.
Yeah.
Remember we used to get those lectures from the broadcasters.
Of guys that start on this team offensively, he's my number one concern.
Yeah.
Like, more so than people will bring up JT Realmuto. He's a catcher. He's 35. Like, I know what JT is.
Oh, yeah, and buckle up because you get 3 great years of watching JT Realmuto at the plate.
Yeah, but Bryson Stott is the
terrible.
one who tore the cover off the ball in spring training, and this year he has been abysmal at the plate. And we'll talk later about changes specifically to the lineup.
I have one idea about change. You have another idea about change, and we take two different approaches to change.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all plays out. I'm not freaking out by any way. Here's one thing I will say as well.
Yeah.
Screw San Francisco. Like that city, man. I don't know what it is about that city and that ballpark and that team, but I'm overseeing the Phillies play in San Francisco every year, John. Every year.
It bothers you that much? I have no idea what it is. There's a lot of good restaurants.
Yeah. It's like Tampa for the Eagles.
Maybe that could be. Yeah, but the Eagles fixed that.
They did. But for the longest time, it felt like any time you go down there and you're playing in Tampa Bay, I don't know. It's just one of those spots they never play well. It's just
that's just so disappointing. Yesterday afternoon was terrible. And I hate, by the way, and I love Tom McCarthy. I love Ruben Amaro. They do a great job. I hate let's say, last game of road trip. Guys looking like they're going home. I'm so freaking tired of that.
It's the third series of the year.
They don't care. Here, let me just tell you. They're not heading to the airport standing in a TSA line. They're not heading to an airport. They're heading to an airport where somebody carries their luggage for them from the bus to the plane to everything. They stroll to the bus, stroll to the plane. Then they get on, and it is a first-class plane, not like anything you've flown in. They're missing rows, missing seats. It's gorgeous. It's not like travel for these guys are thinking about the travel today. Oh, get out of here. Get out. I want to hear it. Thinking about the travel today. I'm flying today. I'm thinking about the travel today. I'll stand in at least it's a pre-check line. I'll carry my own bags.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of hearing about that. It's like, well, these guys, they got to travel today, and they know they got to travel. What?
It's dumb, whether you buy into it or not. Travel days or returning from road trip days, that's a thing in sports. It shouldn't be, and the focus needs to be there this early in the season. And the focus at the plate is not. They don't have an approach at the plate that's consistent enough for where they are right now.
I love that you said that. That's going to lead into something later on. So 610-632-0975 and get in on that. So the two winner teams have referendum games tonight. The Flyers have a chance to, I'll say it again, potentially lock up a playoff berth. I said it the other night. If Columbus had lost and the Flyers won, Flyers did their part, Columbus scores with less than 15 seconds to go and then wins in overtime to screw that up. So I'll say it again here. And the Sixers play at Houston, a game that they need to secure a chance to get the 6th seed. If the Flyers win tonight, okay, or I should say, let's put it into the positive. When the Flyers win tonight and they take care of business at Detroit and the Blue Jackets lose at Buffalo, I will tell you that it's over. It's over, Connor. I won't be here tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, a Flyers win tonight, a Blue Jackets loss tonight, it's over. With a capital O. I know there's 3 games left. It's over.
All right. Hey, I'll take your word for it.
And I will put the guarantee with a capital G and underline it. It's over if they win tonight and Columbus loses. I can't believe that Columbus pulled that out the other night, and that spooks me a bit. Just spooks me a bit because that's one of those wins where you go, wow, their season was done.
Is it a momentum builder for them?
And it was like that season, they've been on a terrible death spiral, and they pulled themselves out of it with a miracle and then win it in overtime. And
don't worry about them. There's no team in hockey with more momentum than the Philadelphia Flyers right now. There is not a single one with the way that they've been playing lately and the rush that they're putting on to make this postseason push. So I'm not even worried about Columbus. I know you have to be mathematically.
Well, you have to be because if the Jackets win tonight and the Flyers lose, the Jackets are in the playoffs. The Flyers are not.
Yes.
And the Flyers would not be the wild card team either.
Yeah.
So you could wake up tomorrow morning on the outside looking in with 3 to play, which changes the dynamic big time. Now, the Jackets have a much more, I believe, a more difficult schedule down the stretch, but still, it is one you're watching tonight. I look at it as Detroit tonight. And you've been saying all week, they owe them one.
They do.
Explain yourself. I mean, they owe them one.
They get in that game that seemed to be, and it might have been more because of the officiating than anything. The last time they played Detroit in Philadelphia, the officiating's terrible. Porter Martone's getting shoved around by a guy that's supposed to be refereeing the game.
Supposed to be impartial.
And watching that game, it's not just like, the ref screwed him. But I did feel like the Flyers were the better team for the larger part of that game, and they weren't rewarded for it. Part of that's their own efforts. But when you have a game like that where it's just like, we own these guys, and we had a little bit of maybe outside influence with the referees, and we're ticked off that we lost that game, and clearly that game got chippy for a little bit there too. Like, that is a team where I say next time you get them, give me the other opponent if I believe these are evenly matched opponents or close to evenly matched opponents. And the way the Flyers are playing right now, they're evenly matched opponents.
How about desperate team at home? Doesn't bother you? Desperate team at home tonight. Detroit is they're on life support. They've got to win tonight, and they're at home. They've got to take care of business tonight. They cannot put it off to another night.
Sure, be as desperate as you want. What's the Flyers' record recently on the road? Have they won 10 of their last 11, I believe it is, on the road?
Here's the key, though. They've got 2 games against teams that will not be going to the playoffs after tonight. Detroit. Yeah. So Detroit's got one. They know if they get one tonight, if they can beat the Flyers tonight, they have 2 very winnable games. They can get themselves to 95 points or something and be potentially in the mix. So they've got to get it done tonight.
Yeah,
you're gonna face a Hornets' nest team. If you can come out and play like you did the other night at New Jersey, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a big game for them tonight, and the momentum continues to build.
What about the Sixers tonight? As the Sixers roll into Houston, and it is absolutely, I keep having to go between all my spreadsheets here. The Sixers roll into Houston tonight. By the way, they roll in the 8th seed this morning. They're sitting there, the 8th seed, and just so you understand what the 8th seed means, if the season ended today, I hate that expression, they would be in the play-in tournament, and they would host the first game. This morning, they would be hosting the Hornets in the first play-in game. If they would win that game, they would secure the 8th seed. If they would lose that game, they would have another chance to get to the playoffs by winning on the road in the next game. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, so Houston's tough. They've been playing really good basketball right now. They're on, like a 5-game win streak. That's a good team, and going on the road
down there. They got a good club.
They do. And going on the road down there, Listen, I'm the one who predicted they were going to beat the Spurs. So that was not great, even though they played the Spurs better than I thought most people were giving them credit for.
I bet it because of you, so I'm going to, get the $4.78 that I bet on it on my BetParks app. But in all honesty, I thought your logic was so sound.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sound logic to it.
Tonight it's not, because they don't have a guy really that can guard KD, and Alperen Sengun is really, really talented in there. If Joe doesn't have a great game, they're in a little bit of trouble. Austin brings up a great point on the board there. You also need this win for the draft pick, because you do hold Houston's pick from the Jared McCain trade. But that's a conversation
for later. What's that going to do for you?
Hey, knock it down a couple spots. You never know.
You're not going to get a couple spots because Houston.
Yeah, it's for they get the win today, and then the offseason we'll see what Daryl Morey wants to do with the draft pick.
Yeah, you know what he wants to do? He wants to go and find some 35-year-old that's hobbling around that was great 10 years ago.
Kawhi Leonard.
I know what Daryl Morey wants to do.
Yeah,
Daryl Morey and Dave Dombrowski are like, old is great. They watch Cocoon together, and it's an old movie if you've never seen it.
I haven't.
Where the old people go into a pool and they come out and they're all young again. It's like the fountain of youth. They honestly believe that they can, they can just find past glory.
Yeah.
With these teams. Well, that's what Daryl wants.
The Sixers aren't going to find their way out of the play-in games, I believe. I
don't see any way out.
They'd have to win out and get maybe a little bit of help depending on how other things play. And it feels like too long of a shot. So you want to be the 7, you want to host the first play-in game, and you want to find a way to get into that 7 seed, even though I know you want Detroit.
Well, now Cade's back.
Yeah.
Cade comes back.
You didn't think he was going to be?
No, I didn't. No, I thought he'd come back, but there was talk that he'd miss half of the first-round series. Mm-hmm. Now Cade's back. It's like, no, I'm back. I want to see what I can do. You see, it's really interesting to watch when a team has stars that actually want to play, that want to get in the lineup, that don't want to say, I want to rest up. I want to wait. No, I want to push it, and I want to get back in the lineup. Listen to Cade Cunningham. Go look at the quotes. It's going to annoy the hell out of you if you're a Sixers fan. Yeah, doctors told me I could take another week, but no. I want to get in there, and I want to test it out.
Well, he wants that all-NBA money is what he wants.
Detroit's doctors and Philly doctors, totally different doctors. Completely. It's unbelievable, but it's going to be a wild night. We will be all over it here on Kincade Salciunas. Look, Billy Joel said, it's just a matter of trust. But I don't know if he's talking about Jalen Hurts or Sean Mannion. Connor's going to ask a question of who needs to trust who or whom more as Kincade Salciunas continues here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Got to tell you, if something's feeling off, guys, get to the doctor. I did it, and I did it too late. Almost too late for my whole life. But when I found out I had a cancer diagnosis, my third of my lifetime, I went to the consultants in medical oncology and hematology. Dr. John Sprandio Jr. took care of my care. Well, him and his entire team. They're the best. And CMOH offers quick consults. They give you a fantastic plan, and you're going to know exactly what you need to expect. More importantly, from the people who answer the phones, to the people who schedule the appointments, to the spectacular nursing staff, to the doctors themselves, they're going to get you connected with the best hospitals and healthcare systems across the tri-state area because they are an independent practice that allows you to have seamless care. So, if you've had abnormal test results or got unexplained symptoms, do not put it off. Get control and get clarity today. I'm telling you, I made the choice. I shopped around, I made the choice, and I'm here to talk to you about it today. It's the consultants in medical oncology and hematology. Visit CMOH.org and take that first step towards getting yourself peace of mind.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The San Francisco curse continues. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. It's been since 2013 since the Phillies have won a series in San Francisco against the Giants. And while the droughts going to continue for now, a struggling offense couldn't provide Aaron Nola any run support. And then in the sixth inning, Rafael Devers drove a 94-mile-per-hour fastball 411 feet to center field to break open a 0-0 game into a 3-0 lead for the Giants. Phillies offense remained silent. The Giants went on to win the game 5-0 and take the series 2-1. Phillies manager Rod Thompson spoke post-game about the offensive woes.
I think you just got to stay the course. You know, these guys are going to hit. It's just a matter of time, and we're just going through a dry spell. And we haven't really hit all that much the entire season, to be honest. But they're going to hit at some point.
The Good Club is off today, and they'll be back on Friday night against Arizona with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. First pitch will be at 7:05. And in case you missed the hottest team in the NHL, the Flyers are back in action tonight against the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, with puck drop being at 7 p.m. In the NBA, the Sixers are back in action tonight as well. They're currently in the 8th seed in the NBA East standings. And they're going to look to improve the position tonight against the Rockets. Tonight's update is also brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Victims Against Drunk Driving. Your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have one place at MAD. Call 24-hour victim helpline 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Austin Jones on The Fanatic.
Sponsored by Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. So, how's the poll looking this morning there, Austin?
Well, John, it's early in the morning, so it's always going to be up and early. Just let me go ahead and get myself ready to go here.
Absolutely.
All righty. So we will have to spin back on that, John.
Okay, we'll spin back on that and get a check on it there. That is always good. The computer having a little bit of a glitch there. I was hoping that yours was working better than mine, so it's good there. So we'll get that poll question to you there, and thank Dr. Avidan Appel.
Need some extra support, that's all.
Remember, check the text line at any time, too. You can text in thanks to Davis Honda. Feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington. Andrew and I were hanging out with the Davis Honda folks a few weeks ago. I was telling them, I said, Andrew's Honda is held together by rust and bubble gum. I said, we might have to get him in a fancy new Davis Honda.
Yeah.
I said, that thing is...
He could use it.
If he takes it through a car wash, I think it would break apart. So, all right, Connor, there's just a lot of discussion about Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion. And honestly, it's one of the storylines that is going to be most intriguing for me to watch for this 2026 Philadelphia Eagles team. But you had a different angle on it that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, this comes off of something Tim McManus said on these airwaves yesterday, and he was talking about the Jalen Hurts article that came out that he worked on with Jeremy Fowler and the idea of changing plays. So that's where this comes from. But the explanation of why that Tim McManus gives gave me a really interesting thought. So here's what Tim McManus had to say on that.
Some people in the building felt that the degree to which he changes plays is to an excessive amount. And I think a keynote in there is sometimes he would go to plays that weren't even installed. That's a bit of a different level. Through talking through various sources over the last few months and years, the conclusion that I came to was it's very much dependent on his trust in a particular coach. With Steichen, as an example, that trust grew. And I think Steichen was very much matter of fact about what he wanted and would correct Hurts when necessary, and I think that led to a certain approach by Hurts and maybe a certain level of trust that was also there with Kellen Moore. Moore was matter of fact. Moore had it laid out very plainly about what he expected, and even though there was tension, according to a team source, between the two of them, it worked well. There was a difference when Brian Johnson was here and the visions of Hurts, Johnson, and Sirianni in 2023 did not align. That's when Hurts kind of went out of the box more and didn't trust the offense as much. And I think that we saw similar things creep in the 25 season. So it kind of put the highlight on Sean Mannion. Not entirely fair. Is the 33-year-old guy who's got 2 years of coaching experience that's coming in and overhauling an offense. The relationship between he and Hurts and Hurts' investment in him and trust in him is absolutely huge.
A lot of stuff from Tim McManus there that basically boils down to Jalen Hurts becomes a little bit more squirrely. He gets more liberal with those ideas of, hey, changing the play call to sometimes stuff that isn't even installed based on his trust level.
Okay, so yesterday I talked to an NFL player because I was honestly a little blown away by that comment as we're doing our show prep. So I was talking with a player yesterday about something else. And I said, how often does that happen? And it's an offensive player. And he goes, not that often. No. Unless a quarterback goes to the line. He goes, in today's day and age, quarterbacks don't have that much of an option to be changing plays as much as we think they do.
Okay.
Now, he doesn't know what a Mahomes gets to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what other things. He goes, but it doesn't happen that often. But to me, if it's happening a lot with Jalen Hurts, the results of the years where he's been doing that, they're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, I don't know that that's
what I look at.
I don't know that that's the full picture. You're looking at a corner of the picture. The years that he does that, if you believe what Tim just had to say there, are the years where he doesn't have full trust in the offensive coordinator.
Okay, I don't have full trust in what I see him think to do, though.
Well,
when he's going rogue, he decides on a simple play in Green Bay at the end of the game where it's absolutely idiotic to throw a deep ball down to the end zone.
Yeah.
Him and A.J. Brown pick one of the lowest percentage plays in the playbook to go for.
Yeah.
So I don't trust AJ. I don't trust Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown's logic.
That's fine.
So I don't want to hear about who he doesn't trust.
No.
You know what I mean?
You shouldn't have to trust that. You should have a guy in the position above that's calling the plays that is competent enough to do so. Because when you've had Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen, Jalen Hurts has not done this stuff. When you've had guys that have not gotten the job done, he has done this stuff. It's a level of trust for him. Basically, if he trusts that the offensive coordinator knows what the hell they're doing, he doesn't screw around.
Okay, go back to this. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts picked a play at the end of the Green Bay game, which allowed Green Bay to have an opportunity to go down with no timeouts and to potentially kick a field goal to tie the game.
Yeah.
Because stupidly, they went for one of the lowest percentage plays that is connected in football. On a fourth down play, they went for a bomb to the end zone.
Yeah.
So they said, logic aside, we're going to roll the dice. We're pushing all our chips to the center of the table. I guarantee you this, whatever play, and I can't believe I'm going to defend Kevin Patullo, whatever play Kevin Patullo picked that Jalen Hurts didn't trust, I guarantee you was a higher percentage play and a more likely play to succeed than what the hell those two did that potentially cost them that game.
Right. It's not about the specific play.
It is, though.
It's not. It's
why?
not, John.
Why is it not?
It doesn't matter what Kevin Patullo called. It doesn't matter if it was a better play or not. The problem here is when you have an offense coordinator that demonstrates, whether it's in meetings, whether it's during games, whether it's the way they put together an offense, that they are not getting the job done, Jalen Hurts takes it upon himself at times. That's not right to do. That is just the reality of what the situation is.
Okay, but the thing is, when Jalen Hurts does that, he doesn't pick good plays.
Yes.
He did it. Him and AJ did this in Seattle. So to me, he's complaining about somebody else.
Yeah, he should be. It's the offense. It's not the quarterback's job to call the play.
Okay, but he's complaining about somebody else's competence. So then he goes off script and he calls his own play, and he calls a play that makes no sense, Connor.
I get it. He's not blameless, but the problem is not Jalen Hurts. The problem is you've had two guys that can't get the job done, so that the quarterback then feels like he either has the ability or the necessity to do it himself.
Well, then show me that you have the common sense to call. No. It is. Call a good play that makes sense in the time of the game.
He's not. That's like talking about Nick Sirianni calling the plays anymore. All right, slow down. Jalen Hurts, don't call plays. Fine. But also, the number one thing is not worry about the quarterback. Get a guy who can call plays offensively, unlike Kevin Patullo, unlike Brian Johnson. He was fine with Shane Steichen. He wasn't calling plays that were stupid then because he trusted the guy. He was fine with Kellen Moore. This is not Hurts' job. It's the Eagles' job to hire somebody who can call the plays so that the offense, and it's not just Hurts, it's AJ as well, doesn't feel the need to try and do stuff themselves.
But I guarantee you whatever play Kevin Patullo called, it wasn't that.
I know.
Because we saw the head coach go, why? Why? Because even the Marple Newtown Junior Tigers coach wouldn't have done what Jalen Hurts decided to do. So Connor, I hear you saying Jalen doesn't believe in Patullo. But Jalen shows no common sense in when he then says, well, I'll do what I want to do. He picks the worst play in the playbook.
Right. So that's why you get somebody good at their job. Jalen Hurts is being reactionary in this situation.
But he's being dumb. So it shows to me he doesn't understand.
So don't let him be dumb. I don't know how much more I can explain this.
Okay, no. Then he doesn't. I can't trust. Why should he be complaining about somebody else when he has a chance to say something, he shows he doesn't have any understanding of the offense?
Because he's not the coach, John. It's not his job to call the plays. If you have a competent offensive coordinator, he doesn't feel the need to do this.
Connie, you're sitting on the couch at the end of that Green Bay game. That fourth down call. We saw Nick Sirianni lose his mind over what Jalen Hurts did. And we didn't know at the time that it was what Jalen Hurts did.
Yeah.
There's you on your couch, every single person watching that game. Nobody is throwing a bomb and giving Green Bay the opportunity to take the ball over right there. So they're saying, so Jalen Hurts has no common sense himself.
It's not that he doesn't have common sense himself. It's that he's trying to do too much because he doesn't trust the guy in the position above him.
Then throw it 10 yards. Okay. Then throw it, do something smart.
You're getting lost in the stuff that doesn't matter. Here's what matters.
But it did matter.
Okay.
It almost cost them the game.
It's not the conversation we're having. The conversation we're having is that when Jalen Hurts trusts the person calling the offense, he doesn't do this stuff. When he doesn't trust the person calling the offense, he does this stuff.
But why would I trust Jalen Hurts' judgment when he has the opportunity to do something, he doesn't know what the hell to do?
Because at the end of the day, he's the one that he has to make the play. He's the one that's either going to throw or hand the ball off. So you have to give that leeway or trust that. All right, if I don't trust Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, whoever's calling the plays at this point in time of this said game, then me as the quarterback, I don't trust it. So I think I'm going to make the right decision. And obviously, it hasn't been the right decision when you look at the Green Bay and the Seattle game. But as a quarterback, if they're not trusting their play callers, they're going to try to do what they can to make the right play.
But you don't pick the lowest percentage play in the playbook on a fourth down play when the other team has no timeouts. That's a quarterback without awareness.
Right. I will say this, though. We can critique Jalen in regards to selecting that said play, but I don't think we can always critique him in regards to the trust that he did not have for the coordinator.
Oh, no. If that's the issue.
That's 100% the issue.
I get it, but it almost cost them a game because he didn't just have the common sense to do something else.
So the way you fix that is not take Jalen Hurts to football school. The way you fix that is hire an offensive coordinator who does their job. Now, the question that we're trying to get to is just who needs to
trust more?
Exactly, right? Because if you're Sean Mannion, you're saying, I got a brand new system. I haven't seen this guy run. Does Jalen Hurts have to earn Sean Mannion's trust to show that he can run an offense in that style? Or does Sean Mannion come in here and has to earn the trust of the Super Bowl MVP quarterback who clearly is the one who's deciding whether or not he wants to listen? And it's tough. I think there's arguments on both sides because there's cachet on one side, but there's a new system on the other. So
it's 4th and 6 at the end of a game with 33 seconds, and Jalen's throwing a bomb.
Yeah.
Makes it with no timeouts.
Nobody's saying it was a smart play call. Hey, I'm saying hire a guy that doesn't let him do that.
Hey, get on in at 610-632-0975. Is Aaron off to a promising start, or is the meatballs issue showing up again? Could use some offense. Kincade Salciunas continues after this.
Athletic app.
Getting lively early this morning. Connor and I going at it over Jalen Hurts and the offensive coordinator. Hopefully Sean Mannion's going to be a little bit of a different story here. Let's check that Twitter poll again with Dr. Aviana Pels, Iron Mountain Men's Health, bringing it to you with Austin Jones. Austin, what is the question of the day, please?
Alrighty, our Twitter poll for today is: has the Flyers' recent surge led you to believe that they have a better future in the next 5 years than the Phillies? And right now, get fired up because it's 100%. They're all fired up and ready to go for the next 5 years.
Okay, that's early. That's early. That has to balance out a little bit more, correct?
Now the update now is it's 64% yes, 36% no.
Because I'm going to tell you this. I've said it before. Play the Golden Girls theme. The Phillies are old, and the Phillies are getting older.
Yeah.
And all of those big money contracts for the Phillies, for the most part, not anything that involves a pitcher. Their best days are beyond them. Like Schwarber, Harper, Turner, they're not going to be better than we've ever seen them, ever again.
You might have said that about Schwarber going into last year, and he had a MVP runner-up season.
But I think it's the surrounding cast is what I'm looking at, is that he's not going to be in the year or two that maybe he has a window to do that. The people around him aren't going to allow him that.
I'm not sure that I can say that. You've seen Justin Crawford come up and look pretty solid up there at center field. The guy's he's a major league player at the dish.
Yes, he is.
And that's something you haven't had in the 9-hole. We'll see with Aiden Miller. I know he's dealing with back stuff right now, but they have talked about him potentially coming up this year. Dante Norrie's probably a year away. Like, in this stretch where these guys are not going to be decrepitly old, you could see a significant change of the supporting cast. The problem is, if you lose 2027 to a lockout or lose a lot of it, and that turns into a wash year, what in the world does it look like with salary cap stuff? Baseball's going to change significantly, which is why it's tough to project.
The Dante Norrie stuff is interesting because, to me, and I know you've talked about it on the Locked On Phillies podcast, which you should subscribe to, you can't have two long-term answers in your outfield that have no pop.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, you don't have pop at third base.
You don't have pop right now. Alec Bohm is a free agent after this year, and we've talked about us being surprised if the Phillies re-sign him.
Okay, you don't. If you were to put Norrie and Crawford as your long-term answers there,
yeah,
that'd be a really odd approach because corner outfield, corner infield spots, you're expecting power.
Yeah,
you're not getting power from behind the dish anymore. You're not getting power. I mean, the Harper power numbers haven't been there for a while.
He can still be a 25-plus home run guy for
a while
now.
Yeah.
That's
25 he can do, right?
That's power.
No. But you're not talking about going, hey, when you're talking about power guys in Major League Baseball, people aren't talking 25.
No, I'm thinking 35 to 40.
Yeah.
Correct. You're not talking the Phillies don't have any of them other than Schwarber. And if you take that away, I worry about that with
But John, real quick, the one issue that this team has is that, they rely so much on the power that, as a Phillies fan that we've seen the power surge go out, I don't mind hopefully a little change of the lineup in the future, when those guys aren't going to be the future.
Yeah, the Brewers won the most games in baseball last year, and they don't really have that many true power guys on the Milwaukee Brewers. That's not how they built their team. You can do it with those guys in the outfield.
And what did you tell me all year long, and Andrew, about the Milwaukee Brewers?
Oh yeah, they're not going to win the postseason.
Well, then that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me. Then I don't care about.
It's not because they're not. It wasn't
wins.
because they weren't hitting home runs. It's because that team doesn't have enough of the guys that seem proven enough that have the postseason track record that feels like they can knock off a team like the Dodgers. But it's not because they weren't hitting home runs.
Because I think that you need the team to be able to hit home runs in the postseason.
You're going to need some guys.
I think
they
you
can
need
find those guys. There's a lot of baseball players that can hit a bunch of home runs. You just got to build this roster differently when you have the chance to. Speaking of guys that can hit home runs, pretty much all of them can when they face Aaron Nola.
They can, but you and I are on the same page with this one. The home runs annoy the hell out of me with Aaron Nola. It's there. But how long do you expect a guy to walk a tightrope where it was the sixth inning, right? Sixth inning when he gave up the home run yesterday. If my starting pitcher gives me 5 scoreless and my offense gives me nothing, I am not pointing the finger at my starting pitcher.
No, you shouldn't. Anyone who was blaming Aaron Nola for yesterday is crazy. Even blaming him for his performance. Rafael Devers is a really good hitter. You left the ball up. You made one mistake pitch. What you're going to ask from Nola this year is what you got yesterday. Like, that is perfect level of what you need from Aaron Nola. The problem is when you get shut out for 20 straight innings, you're going to lose ball games.
And it was listless.
Yeah.
But Nola, to me, looks like an improved pitcher.
Yeah,
now it's too early because just like I'm saying, don't worry about Christopher Sanchez, I can't in the same breath say, well, look at what Aaron Nola's doing. I'm feeling really good about that. But it just looks like Nola doesn't look like the guy he was last year.
All he has to do is not kill you. That's the only role Aaron Nola needs to do on this for this team in the regular season. Is just not kill you.
Right, not be a black hole in the lineup.
Exactly. Yeah, win me 1 out of every 3 starts. I don't know. That'd be totally
do a little
fine.
Can I ask you something?
He's going to be a 5 probably.
Sure.
Should Nola get the Blake Snell treatment? You know how Blake Snell, the whole thing was, well, he can only go 5 innings, and then obviously the postseason it turned around for him. For Aaron Nola, would you put that kind of 5-inning limit on him now? Because we've seen once he gets to the 6, it kind of unravels.
I would absolutely, because that 6th inning did unravel. They had the couple challenges.
Yeah.
That ended up working. By the way, Philly's doing a great job with the challenges. Like, really seem to have
they
a
are.
good.
JT's incredible. The batters, Rafael Marchand, really
good job yesterday. To me, though, I personally would be okay with that, depending on how a series goes. Look, Nola likes the strikeouts. He likes to get the strikeouts. He's an effective strikeout pitcher.
Yeah.
But he's always been an innings chewer, and that's part of it.
That's what I need, though. Here's my thing, right? You got Wheeler coming back off of an injury. You've got Jesus Luzardo, who has had injury issues in his career. You've got Andrew Painter, who's still not that removed from Tommy John and is having his first major league season.
Sure.
If there's one guy, well, Sanchez, obviously, but if there's a second guy that I'm like, I need you to eat innings, it's Aaron Nola. That's why you can't do it with him, because for better or for worse, I need that dude to be someone who saves the bullpen on days.
Well, we're going to have a little topic of change today when it comes to the Phillies. And I can tell you, the Phillies need change. But I'm going to make the first proposal. And I believe that Taylor Swift would approve of my plan. That's your tease on that one. When Kincade Salciunas continues here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The San Francisco curse continues as it's been since 2013, since the Phillies have won a series in San Francisco. The Giants, and well, the drought's going to continue on, hopefully until the postseason, as the struggling offense couldn't provide Aaron Nola any run support, and Rafi Devers took Nola deep in the 6th inning to break the game open 3-0, and the Giants went on to win 5-0, and this series at 2-1. Phillies manager Rob Thompson spoke about the offensive woes after the game.
I think you just got to stay the course. These guys are going to hit. It's just a matter of time, and we're just going through a dry spell. And we haven't really hit all that much the entire season, to be honest. But they're going to hit at some point.
The Phillies will be back in action Friday night against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jesus Luzardo will be on the mound. And in case you're missing the Flyers because they were off last night, they'll be back tonight against the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with a 7 p.m. puck drop. And the Sixers are also back on the court tonight as they're going to face the Houston Rockets. The Sixers are currently the 8th seed in the East. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is also brought to you by Papa John's. Papa John's is turning up the heat with your choice of 3 new oven-toasted sandwiches at $7.99 or $6.99 with Papa John's pairings. Order today at papajohns.com on the app or stop at your local Papa John's. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
All right, Diana Rossini's tweeting again.
Oh.
NFL News. So she's out tweeting NFL News.
Oh, well, she still got to do her job.
I got to tell you, in the middle of this, Connor, I don't think you'd be doing your job.
Hey, her.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think, Connor, I don't think you'd be doing your job. I don't think I would be doing my job. I don't think that Adam Schefter would be doing his job.
We don't know.
If Adam Schefter was the
Mike
it was
Vrabel?
a male in a situation of this situation, I don't think he'd be doing his job.
Well, in the articles that have come out, The Athletic has backed up Diana Rossini's comments that it's
Really?
not what it looks like. Yeah, they
Really?
so.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I was like,
Listen,
yeah, it's great.
If you have something go on, your employer says we support her, and then the next thing you know, like you still got to do your job. Now that could change, but
I got to
correct.
tell you, I don't stand on a sunset balcony that only is accessible from the room that the woman's room. It's not accessible from anywhere public. And interlocking hands and like I don't interlock hands, my fingers on both hands interlocked with another woman.
Yeah.
That I'm not married to. When I've been married, and I've been married the exact same amount of time that Mike Vrabel has.
I agree with you.
I got to tell you this, I would be showing up for work if I was like this.
You're absolutely wrong. You probably wouldn't show up for work.
I might not even be there. There'd be a machete.
But listen, Jorge Soler got in that fight in the Angels Braves game. He went yard yesterday, the day after. Doesn't mean he's not going to be suspended. It just means right now things are being figured out. So she's going to continue to work.
Yeah, she's going to continue. She's going to continue. I promise you that. We'll see how it goes. All right, it might be time for the Phillies to consider the shakeup that they can do. And this is, I'm going to take Taylor's advice. Shake it up. Shake it up, baby. They decided to run it back. Whether they wanted to believe it that or not, or whether they tried to spin to you that they turned over so much of the roster, they didn't turn it over. This is the team we've seen pretty much the last few years. Team 6-6, and as Connor and I discussed earlier, it's no big deal. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about a team that's 6-6 at the start of the year, but I am worried about the fact is exactly what I thought was a problem is still a problem. They look listless. The lineup looks listless. They have no energy. They have too many guys who have a terrible approach at the plate, a horrendous approach at the plate. So is there anything they can do to switch up the energy? You can't. There's not a lot of players they can trade. They don't have a lot of guys you can bring up. So how about having a clue? How about changing something up? You can't change the players. So to me, it's one, pick it. And I mean it. Pick it. I'm not ready for another 162 of this same stuff because I know the ending of the movie. Michael Myers comes out of the closet with the big knife and then takes the person and stabs them and sticks them to the wall. It is time to do something, even if it's ceremonial. Pick one. The manager is asleep. I have no idea what he does during games. I have none. And when they show him out there, somebody nudge him for me. He's asleep. The hitting coach, I do know this. He stinks. He stinks. He stinks. This team has a terrible approach. This team doesn't know how to situationally hit. This team is not having players showing great development under him. Kevin Long, I'm tired of it being the mascot hire because Schwarber and Turner and Harper love him. At some point, I got to see results. Something's got to be done. That can be done. Something can be done.
So we're 12 games in, and we're talking about the manager's job and the hitting coach's job.
Yes.
Why, John?
Because nothing changes with this team. And at some point, this is a story as old as time. Isn't that Beauty and the Beast? Tale as old as time. Yeah, tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast. It's the tale as old as time. You can't fire the players. You can't. It's the same stuff. It's a different day. It's the same stuff. They never get better. In fact, you could argue that players under his watch have gotten worse, not better. There's nothing different. No approach
Some
works.
have, some haven't. I mean, Brandon Marsh had a red-hot start to the year. I think you could say that he's improved since the Phillies acquired him, where he was kind of playing in L.A. Now, he's had moments.
Brandon Marsh had a great 3 months last year. Was like one of the best players in baseball.
Now, Justin Crawford's a rookie.
Tell me about the first three, though.
So he's out of the conversation. I mean, Kyle Schwarber has gotten significantly better since he's been here under these guys. Bryce Harper has been really good. Now, these guys were all
good before they got here. Schwarber, Harper, Turner
was nowhere close to what he is now here in Philadelphia.
But Schwarber, Harper, Turner were all cooked. They were cooked. We knew what the product was on the shelf. What's he doing with Stott? What's he done with Bohm?
Stott hasn't been good.
What's he done with these guys?
Hang on. Bohm became an all-star starter and is one of the better average guys since May 1st. We talked about this earlier in the week in all of baseball. He's also improved significantly defensively.
Oh,
Alec Bohm has gotten
better. Nothing to do with Kevin Long.
Right, but he's gotten better. He's developed offensively, too.
And the year he made the All-Star game, he had a great first half, and then he was horrendous in the second half.
Yeah, that's not the hitting coach. That's not the manager. That's the player.
At some point, stuff gets changed. Approach gets changed.
Sure.
Messaging gets changed. Or teams sit there and just say, let it go. Like the manager stares off into space. Let it go. At some point, somebody's got to say, grab by the lapels and shake something up.
You're right, but it is wild to even consider we're close to that point. Today, on April 9th, 12 games into the season.
No, it's not. It's how many years into the tenure of Kevin Long?
I got you. There's a chance that Rob Thompson doesn't make it through this year. If we get to June and this team is still listless and their record does not look good, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do what they did with Joe Girardi. If they get to that point and the offense is not where it needs to be, I wouldn't be surprised to see them move on from Kevin Long. And I'm not going to sit here and just go die on the hill.
12, but you can't use the 12 games thing with Kevin Long. He's been here forever. And it's the same crap, different day.
No, I understand. I'm not saying their jobs are safe, but talking about their jobs on April 9th is crazy.
No, I'm talking about the fact is we've got a guy who's been here forever. It's not 12 games. It's not April 9th. He's been here forever, and nothing changes with him.
Right. I wanted there to be change in the coaching staff after the Dodgers series. I was on that side. And listen, I'm not going to defend them if they decide to go in that direction. But they're not going to make that change right now. We're not even close to where they're going to make that change.
What do people feel about this? I mean, does Kevin Long have supporters in this town? Because I don't get it why he would. I don't understand why he would.
Has the offense been good under Kevin Long?
The star players who were good before he got here have been good.
Yes,
the star players who were good before he got here have been good.
Just a yes or no.
No, it's not a yes or no answer.
I'm asking
because
a yes or no.
Has Kevin Long affected this team being a better offensive team? Because they have a horrible approach at the plate. They're horrible.
That's not the hitting coach. That's not entirely the hitting coach. All right.
Is it part of him?
It's the players. Yeah, he's not blameless, but you keep going back to. The hitting coach does not matter nearly as much as you think he matters.
I didn't say he does. What I'm saying is at some point, get the people out of their comfort zone. Get it out of we're picking coaches. And by the way, they are. Schwarber, Harper, Turner, picking Kevin Long because he's their buddy for that job. And they gave him a contract extension.
Okay, well, the guys that are picking him, Schwarber just led the league in RBIs and home runs last year. Turner just led the league in batting average. So, you know what? Clearly it's working.
He's not their personal hitting coach. He's the hitting coach for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay. So how has Brandon Marsh made this jump? How has he gone from going 0 for April to being one of the best hitters in baseball for a long, long stretch? Does Kevin Long not get any credit for one of the biggest turnarounds we've seen?
Does Brandon Marsh going silent for 2.5 months almost every year? That's on the resume, too. How does that happen?
Okay. You're just answering my explanation with there's stuff on either side here. You're refusing to see what Kevin Long does. This offense is really, really good productively compared to other teams in Major League Baseball. I understand the postseason failures, but he's the hitting coach of a team that's been like top 5, top 10 at least in offense for 4 years.
Their chase rate is one of the worst in baseball. And was last year they were talking about how great it was, and then it plummeted as the season went along.
That's not the hitting coach. The chase rate. What do you expect him to put a Bluetooth in their ear and say, "Don't swing at this"?
No, it's what you do is you just there are teams that improve on their chase rate.
Yeah, there are.
How do they improve?
It's not just the hitting. It's so much more nuanced than the way that you're looking at it. with Kevin Long. Now,
the hitting coach can do nothing, you're telling me. Can do nothing to improve the team to have a better approach at the plate.
I'm not saying he can do nothing. I'm saying chances are if you have a top 5 offense in baseball consistently, you have a good hitting coach. That's all I'm trying to say here. And if you're
you have a top 4 payroll.
Okay, there are other teams with high payrolls that don't get the offensive output that the Philadelphia Phillies get. So if you want to shake stuff up by making a change to the coaching staff, I'm absolutely in favor of that if we are in June. But on April 9th, this is an insane conversation to say, well, it's been years. Sure, guess what? The day that they announced everybody was coming back, you're locked in until probably at least June with the guys you have now. And I'm not going to fight it right now. I'm just not. Now, if we get to that point and they stink, then we make changes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about 12 games when I'm talking about Kevin Long.
Yeah,
I'm talking about years of resume of Kevin Long.
I just went back to when the Pirates fired Derek Shelton last year, and John, you have about one more month because he was fired on May 8th of 2025.
Yeah, and
that's
I
the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean the Pirates is different.
And and even then that was considered early, if I remember correctly across baseball. Even though the Pirates are terrible, but just trying to give you some ETAs.
Well, when you're talking about offense, like Connor's bringing up offense, the Phillies, this very productive offense. They were 8th last year in runs scored per game, which I think is still very good. You're top 8. I think that's very good. Mm-hmm. But again, here are the teams that are right around them. The teams that spend as much money. The Yankees 1, Toronto 2, Dodgers 3. You spend that kind of money, you're expected to have a really good offense because you bought it. You bought Boston, the Cubs. They bought their offenses. The only offense that doesn't fit last year from that is Milwaukee's.
Yeah.
All the other offenses are just the teams that buy the offense. They buy the roster.
Then don't have a hitting coach. Then just save the money, just like you did with Harry the K's. We can have the Ghost Energy hitting coach, and it could just be a sponsored spot on the Phillies coaching staff. Like, if it's on the payroll, then how is the hitting coach affecting it positively or negatively?
Do those teams have a better approach at the plate? Dodgers, Toronto, yes.
Some games, yes. Some games, no. Like, the hitting coach is
Some games?
You got to understand what approach is in baseball. All right? It's not Kevin Long saying, here, don't swing at this pitch, don't swing at that.
I understand, Connor. I understand it. I've watched it a long time, too.
What do you want
understand it because I've seen hitting coaches make a difference.
Okay, so
I've watched hitting coaches that demand that their players take a different approach.
So let's talk about this. Like, what would you tell these guys to change their approach? Like, what do you say to a guy like Alec Boehm, who swung first pitch the other day in a spot where he probably should have taken one, gets sawed off a little bit, and makes a bad out? The message of don't chase doesn't hit.
I can tell you this. I watched Don Baylor. I watched Don Baylor teach Major League hitters don't chase. And work with players on a daily basis, don't chase. And Don Baylor, no player in that roster was telling Don Baylor, I'm not. They wanted to listen to Don Baylor because Don Baylor would be in their face if they weren't listening to Don Baylor. Okay. I watched him with. There was a respect level. Here's Don Baylor. Here's a guy who's been Don Mattingly. I guarantee you this, Don Mattingly, a guy at the plate, got a different little different level of respect and message.
The only player we've ever heard that doesn't respect Kevin Long is Nick Castellanos, and he's in San Diego now. Had a nice double the other day, by the way.
He did. Well, nice to do something. He was not doing well.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't think it was a Phillies problem.
Yes.
I think that was a Nick Castellanos problem. It's the don't chase thing. You have to, as a player at the plate, evaluate that in real time. Be a ball player. Like what Kevin Long does is he gives them the scouting reports and the hitting plan based on the pitcher they're facing. And if you have something mechanically going weird in your swing, he works on it with them.
Do you think their hitting plan could maybe be better? Maybe their hitting plan could be better.
Yeah, on certain days, yes. On other days, they absolutely rake.
Because they look listless against pitchers that they don't know. What does everybody say about the Phillies? They're facing a pitcher they don't know. They're going to get smoked tonight. They're going to have no approach.
Andy's a lefty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the lefties thing is more that the right-handed depth has not been good enough this year, and they don't have other right-handed depth options unless you call up like Brian De La Cruz. That's a bigger issue with this lineup is you don't have the horses in the depth pen.
We got anything on the Davis Honda text line on this? And if we do, we can check in, field the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington, New Jersey. Do we have anything on there?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to go Phillies or you want to go the Eagles? Because the Eagles were getting a lot of leeway.
Let's do it.
Gotcha. So we'll jump back to the Eagles where you guys were having a very heated debate.
We were.
This is from Trevor. He said, to further John's point, what's going to happen when Jalen has to read a defense and audible at the line? Will he audible to the correct play? And if he can't figure out how to throw a deep ball unnecessarily at the end of a game, and regardless of Jalen's trust issues, how many years playing football does it take to figure out that was a stupid play call?
I mean, 4th and 6 on the 35-yard line. Green Bay has no timeouts. 33 seconds left. The last thing you want to do is chuck a ball deep and go to the end zone. It was a horrible play. By the way, I think it was 7.8% success rate play.
Yeah.
So Jalen decided to do, I don't like this offensive coordinator. I don't like his plays. On a 4th and 6th, there are guys if they're saying, if they're going to run a play, they're absolutely, I guarantee you, whatever the play call was that had Nick Sirianni going, why? I guarantee you that whatever Kevin Patullo called was a damn better play call than what Jalen Hurts called. I guarantee it.
I don't know that kid even. We saw some bad plays from Kevin Patullo last year, so I don't know. But I understand your point. My thing is that's just not the argument.
You try to complete a 6-yard, if you're going to throw the ball, Jalen, you try to complete a 6-yard, 7-yard pass. You don't try to complete a bomb.
Yeah, this is not the argument we're having, though, right? Like if you leave it up to Jalen, there are concerns there.
Well, you shouldn't. Jalen should have run. I guarantee you, Nick Sirianni's reaction, whatever play was called, I guarantee you it was probably a play beyond the sticks, a 4th and 6th. That was the play.
Right. Jalen should have run the play, but the reason, according to the Tim McManus clip that we played, that he has done this with certain offensive coordinators and not with others is a level of trust. So if that trust develops with Sean Mannion, it's not a problem historically. If that trust doesn't develop, it is a problem. So the number one way to fix this is to just have an offensive coordinator that does their job competently.
Okay, I'm going to lose my mind on this. Austin, would you trust the offensive coordinator on a 4th and 6 with 33 seconds to go when the other team has no timeouts, they're down a field goal? Would you trust the offensive coordinator that calls for a bomb down the field, or would you trust the offensive coordinator that calls a play to potentially get you a more safe play first down?
Well, yeah. I mean, the easy answer would be the second choice in regards to the more safer offensive coordinator. But the issue is that first offensive coordinator is Kevin Patullo. And like Connor's been saying, there's just no trust. So if I don't trust the first guy, then I, by default, have to rely on the second coordinator that would select a more better play than whatever was done against the San Francisco 49ers and every other game that we've been yelling at when Jalen apparently goes off script.
We have a boss who has a ton of experience. Our boss, Scott, has a ton of experience in radio. He's done it all. You know, running Mike and Mike, Colin Cowherd, all that kind of stuff. Scott will sometimes tell us to do something and we'll go, I don't really know if we're comfortable with that. And he's okay with that. Yeah. He's okay with that. And every once in a while he'll say, do it your way. And we'll see how it goes. Do it your way. Try it your way, and then we'll revisit. If we try it our way and we do something that's so ridiculous, like the play call of Jalen Hurts, he's going to say, look, my judgment's better than yours, and we just proved it. My judgment's better.
Yeah, but you're looking at one instance. Jalen Hurts gets one play, while Kevin Patullo, we have a year's worth of data on him not being able to call competent plays and run this offense successfully. And we also are not in the meetings. We don't know what the install is like. We don't know what the trust level developed is like. But you heard Jalen Hurts' answer back on Locker Room Cleanout Day of his initial thoughts on Kevin Patullo. There was clearly reservation on this guy to begin with. So if you bring in somebody to lead the offense that your quarterback doesn't trust, it opens up the door for the quarterback to try and take things into his own hands.
I got to know, though, Connor, like if you were to say, if the quarterback is saying, I don't trust this offensive coordinator, and then when I watch him call his own number and call his own plays, the plays are ridiculously not timed for the moment that not plays that you would ever run at that time of game, then I'm saying, dude, you have no clue of you have no clue of time, of the game, of what you're calling. You gave them an opportunity to win the game. You gave Green Bay an opportunity to try to kick a field goal that would have tied the game and sent it into overtime that was completely unnecessary.
You ever been to an art gallery?
Yes, I have. By the way, you should do that the Friday night at Philadelphia Museum of Art when they have the champagne and the Good date night for you.
That's
Good date
great
night
tip.
for you. I'm just thinking.
Need to do that. Can you tell the difference, just generally, between good art and bad art?
No.
Well, no. I mean, like,
No, whoa.
like a beautiful painting,
yes.
or a painting that sucks.
Even though I will tell you, sometimes I've been told, "Oh, you're uncultured."
Yeah,
can't
modern
figure
art
that out.
aside, like actual, you can look at a painting and be like, "That's the Mona Lisa." That is something from Miss Smith's 5th grade art class.
When we were in D.C., we went to an art museum a few weeks ago. We went to an art museum down there, and there was a piece of art in a frame, and it actually had half of a tin can sticking out of the piece of like canvas. It had like part of a wooden spoon
the stuff
and everything.
they do.
And I'm going, and I just said, that looks like a kid's art project. And I said it to my wife, and the lady who was next to us heard me say it and was just like, some people just don't get it.
As
And she
long
says to her
as it
husband,
speaks to you,
some
whatever.
people just don't get it.
I'm not a big art guy. My point is this. You can walk into a gallery and you can tell me good painting, bad painting.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you can paint it.
That is correct.
So if Jalen Hurts is listening to Kevin Patullo, I believe he could tell me good offensive scheme, bad offensive scheme. It doesn't mean Hurts can call it. That would be the difference there with the evaluation. I don't need Hurts to be able to do it. It's not his job description. I need him to execute the play. But all of this goes out the window if you have a good offensive coordinator, and that's been historically shown.
The Flyers have been surging, but Connor and Austin are going to rank for me. And I'm going to see if they rank them out in the next 5 years. It plays to our poll question coming up. How much has this changed your view of their future? It's Kincade Salciunas here on The Fanatic. Look, there's so much buzz surrounding this weekend at Benari Jewelers. We're talking tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. If you're shopping for that ring, this occasion, it's right now. Benari is setting a new bar for how much you're going to save. As a matter of fact, this weekend, you're going to save up to 20% on thousands of rings. You're also going to get to meet some of the top bridal designers. Now, it doesn't mean as much to you guys as it will to her, because it's all the designers that she loves from Benari's Instagram. And best of all, they're all on sale. You can save up to 20% on thousands of rings. And since all the designers are there, we're talking like double the people to choose from. So save up to 20% on virtually all of Benari's engagement rings and wedding bands with the best pricing of the whole year. And you get something even more special just for you who's purchasing it. How about interest-free financing with approved credit? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Benari Jewelers. You can get details on this incredible event at BenariJewelers.com. But I want you to get in and see them. Exton and Newtown Square. 2 spectacular locations, 2 great showrooms with amazing teams, and tell them that John Kincade sent you in.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. This update's brought to you by Corner & Cross. Corner & Cross garage floors are done in just one day. Get 50% off installation right now. Call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR or visit cornercross.com. Well, the Flyers' playoff momentum is gaining steam for the Flyers, even though they were off tonight or off last night. Kevin Kurz from The Athletic joined Kincade Salciunas yesterday, and he hinted at a potential playoff rivalry matchup.
I don't think anybody should be printing the playoff tickets just yet, but could they beat the Penguins in a 7-game series the way they're playing now? Absolutely. It's going to be interesting for them to watch if they do make the playoffs, because they're playing right now as well as anybody in the NHL.
The hottest team in the NHL will be back on the ice tonight as the Flyers face the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, with puck drop being at 7 p.m. The Phillies' offense was quiet last night, even though Aaron Nola had a strong start to the game. And then the 6th inning came around and Rafi Devers took him deep for a 3-run home run. The offense has been shut out for the past 20 innings. Hopefully they wake up when the Arizona Diamondbacks come to town Friday night for a 7:05 first pitch with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. In the NBA, the Sixers are currently the 8th seed in the East, and they have an opportunity to improve their positioning as they're going to face the Rockets tonight at 8 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And a friendly reminder that the Masters are back. So make sure you check it out. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Casino games, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You are a half hour away from Fanatic Parlay Cash, your chance to win $1,000. It's your first of 5 times today. You can win $1,000 coming up at the top of the hour. You don't want to miss it. All brought to you by Iron Mountain Men's Health. So that will be coming your way a little bit later on at the top of the hour. Got a keyword and everything.
Yes,
Connor,
we do.
Connor, you can't win.
Why
You're not allowed to win.
Need some extra scratch, man.
But we do have a way for people to win. How about a pair of tickets to see the Flyers taking on the Hurricanes?
The hottest
coming
team
up
in
on
town?
Monday. Yes, Monday, April 13th. It's the Flyers and the Canes, and I'm telling you right now, I believe it will be the official clincher night.
Ooh, so a hot ticket for a hot team.
So you can win a pair of tickets next Monday, coming up at Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can also head to the contest page. It's going to be great. So I think, how are we going to do that, Connor? We got one pair of show to give away.
You know what?
So people are going to be listening all day. This is a great chance for people to listen. How are we going to give people a chance to win some Flyers tickets, which, by the way, now all of a sudden, everybody's going to want to get their hands on Flyers tickets?
Yeah, there have been a lot of people that have gotten really fired up with this team. I've been really excited. You have been for a while, but for the folks that are just like really hitting a new level with their Flyers buy-in.
Which is okay, by the way. Don't let anyone guilt you into that.
No, not only that, we're going to promote it today. Now, a text just doesn't quite get it done. So let's do voice memos. Whoever has the best fire you up voice memo, big game tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. And whoever gives us the best voice memo at 610-632-0975.
Now, is this in tonight? Is this referring to tonight's game? Just do we get it clear?
Yeah.
So in reference to tonight's game.
For tonight's game.
Up.
Or, just get us fired up about the Flyers in general. Whatever you want to do to talk to this fan base, to let us know, hey, I'm zoned in on this team. I'm amped up for a big game. You're playing with some jam today on the voice memo line.
Some jam.
Whoever has the best one between now and the end of the show, we'll give them our Flyers tickets for a big game.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, Connor, it's that chair. The hockey cliches that pour out of that chair. Because I swear Andrew's got a list of them. He does.
I like the playing with jam.
He's got a list. He's got a list of them. Right now, the Flyers have been capturing the imagination of everybody in town. This recent surge that they've got going on has everybody dreaming about the future. And a lot of the negative Nancy's, and I've called them that all year long, and now it is, look, I had a chance to be wrong on them. And I didn't pick them for the playoffs, so I'm not acting like I'm Confucius. I didn't tell you they were going to be in the playoffs. They have a great chance to be there. But they were telling you how bad the rebuild was, and I kept pushing back on that, saying I would give the rebuild under Danny Briere a B. I give it a B. Give it a B. Not an A, a B. But now everybody seems to be really excited about the future. So I ask you in Austin, and I ask everybody in our listening audience, too, to chime in on this, and you can use the text line at 610-632-0975. I'm giving you 5 years. So the next 5 seasons. So for the Phillies, it includes this year. Now, for the Flyers, it's going to include the next 5 years. Which franchise do you think has the brighter future? If we did this in January, by the way, I think it would have been 90-10 Phillies.
Yeah. But now, seeing this team as a playoff viable squad and knowing they're going to have money to spend in free agency that they have not spent with this core and under Briere and Jones, I'm going to go with the Phillies still.
You're going with Phillies still. Explain that.
Because the overall talent level of the team, I don't think is going to see a significant drop-off. So I think they're going to be the better, contender status. We're talking about the Flyers as finding a way in. For the Phillies, that is an assumed thing, and I don't think that's going to change. I don't think they're going to drop into a 500 club, even as guys get older. The Flyers have to show me a little bit more to get to that level, but anybody who says Flyers, I think you have an argument. And I would not have said that a month or two ago.
Guess what? I wouldn't have said it a month or two ago. But one of the things you get to do is you get to see it. You get to see it in action. You get to see some of these guys come together, and you're like, wow, this is exciting.
Yeah.
This is all coming together here. We've got this.
100%. I mean, and the Phillies, people look at the guys currently with the Major League roster. they've done a great job retooling the farm system, so they are going to have some young talent pop up in the coming seasons. So they're not just completely devoid of young talent coming in. The difference with the Flyers is you're already seeing it on the ice, and people can get really excited about a guy like Porter Martone or what they've seen from Matvei Michkov, a Tyson Forster. Even Zegras is not an old player.
No, not at all. No.
You can get excited about the young Flyers core. I just think what the Phillies have, because it's the overall future of the team.
It's the overall future.
I believe in it. I believe in the floor of the Phillies more than the floor of the Flyers, but hey, do the Flyers have a higher ceiling? We'll see.
Austin Jones, do you go the same way as Connor Thomas on that answer?
No, I do not. I'm actually going to roll with the Fly guys because even, and you guys kind of alluded to it, maybe like back in January, I would kind of argue that some people, I mean, we do see some crazy Flyers fans out there that would potentially have taken the Flyers' future even back in January over the Phillies because they know what the Phillies are in regards to those big contracts and the disappointments in the postseason. So those said fans, well, what do I want to invest my time and my heart in? The team that has broken me up the past few years since the World Series, or a team that is getting hot right now and looking like the future of Philadelphia? But to continue with the Flyers, I look at that 5-year outlook, and I look at Porter Martone, Matvei Michkov. I look at potentially Danny Briere and Keith Jones being able to keep the goaltender Dan Vladar. If they're able to re-sign Dan Vladar and he's able to keep up the performance he's had so far this season, then I think the sky is almost the limit for the Flyers as long as they can manage their assets. Whereas the Phillies, they'll have contracts coming off the books over the next few years. But when you look at that payroll, there's going to be some old guys there that will be being paid a lot of money towards the 5 years that you're asking about.
That's totally fair. The tough thing with Vladar is how much is he going to cost you, and how is that going to – because he's under control for another year. Only 28, right, I believe? So it's not like –
Not going anywhere.
He's not a veteran on his last legs, came in here, and it's one last ride for Danny Vladar. The thing is, what helps this team more? Do you go out and get a big-time center that you've been looking for a while in free agency, or do you spend that money on someone in-house?
Well, Vladar's going to get an extension. They're not going to let him get anywhere.
No.
The Trevor Zegras thing, they're going to get him done.
Have to.
I've been told don't worry about Trevor by people that I think are in the know.
They'd be
don't
crazy
worry
to
about
let
it
him walk.
because I think he really fits in well here. And as you can see, the more talent that's around him, the more space he's going to get on the ice to create. The question is, though, is he a center or is he a wing? Mm-hmm. And right now, you know, they may need him to do certain things that maybe they won't need him to do in the future as they get legitimate centers. This team needs centers.
Yeah, but if Trevor Zegras, depending on how they build this team, is like your second-line center because you go out and get somebody crazy and you balance it out a little bit better, maybe – I don't know if he's a top-line center, and he's been playing really well this year. But you can go get one. That's the thing with the Flyers. They have more opportunity to build this thing. It's the new versus what you already know. And that brings emotion into the conversation, which is why I think a lot of people are going to pick Flyers. But
you think it's more the recent emotion?
Yes. And I would tell you logic would still push me towards the Phillies. But you have an argument.
I'm going Flyers. 5 years. Because of age. I just think that I can't confirm it, but I think the Phillies patch on their jersey is going to be a place for mom coming up in a couple years. Because this is going to be an old team.
AARP?
I mean, seriously, no, AARP. That's right now. AARP, you get it when you're 50, baby. And, boy, you get every discount you can grab, you take it. You put it on your digital wallet, you take it anywhere you can get it. You get it at 50.
Connor, let's store that one in the bank.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I hope to see you guys hit 50, and I'm sure you'll be lighting cigars with 20s by that point. So, but it's just the idea. I think, Connor, the recency bias, you're right, though, is going to go towards Fly, maybe skew this more towards
But
Fly.
it doesn't mean it's wrong. I think that's why we're pushing so heavy that way, but logically, you can make the argument either side of this one. I'm only going with the Phillies because I like proven over what someone could be, but there's such upside with this hockey team. And that's why we're so excited, not just for the run they're making now, but what this opens up. This isn't like when you play Pittsburgh, because we're going to live in the certainty, right? We're going to talk it into existence. When you play Pittsburgh, because they're going to make the playoffs.
I like that. Love in the positive.
You're going to see like 3 future Hall of Famers going on what could be their last ride or one of their last rides in Pittsburgh. That's not what this Flyers team is. It's the first of what we hope is many.
And that's a good experience for him. I want to make sure we put a little time in here for this because it's something that popped up on the broadcast yesterday. Davey Lopes passes away.
Yeah, it's sad.
And, Connor, you bring up the fact that they're sort of a lost art, a lost part of the game. And with all due respect, Davey Lopes, one of the best.
Yeah, so stealing bases is something that has dropped off significantly in baseball in the modern game. It's why they made the bases bigger. It's why they made the number of disengagement rules, because they're trying to bring it back. But when I think of Davey Lopes, and I think when anyone thinks of Davey Lopes, you think of swiping bags.
Always. Or helping guys swipe bags.
Exactly.
Like the coaching of it.
Like to think about a base coach on a World Series winning team and the impact that Davey Lopes had with the 2008 Phillies and his time here. Just hearing that sad news yesterday, it brings you back to the times of remembering how excited. How many organizations in baseball couldn't tell you who their first base coach is?
Oh,
like
a
fan
ton,
bases.
right.
But everybody knew Davey Lopes.
Well, they were one of the best at and they were so aggressive.
Yeah.
They were so aggressive. I love making a team play defense.
And he gets credit for that. And
he does.
That was sad to see that yesterday. Just made me think about some of the things that have gone out of the game. And he deserved his time for us to give him some love today. So our thoughts are with his family.
Grew up hating him.
Dodgers.
Learned to love him.
Yep.
So, hey, we're going to get your feedback on the top stories of the day via the text line, some voice memos. Plus, Austin Jones has the stories that fell through the cracks in today's headlines. That's all coming your way next. It's Kincade Salciunas here on The Fanatic. It's been a lively, lively Thursday morning here on Kincade Salciunas. Connor in for Andrew as Andrew enjoys his Southwest Florida sojourn. He's loving it, having a great time with the family, which is great. So,
yeah, he's got nice weather, too. They were on the beach
that's
all day
awesome. Yesterday. See, that's fantastic. That is great. Austin's going to have headlines for us coming up and everything. Can we check the text line, Austin, and see what is out there? Thanks to our friends at Davis Honda. Do a fantastic job. They do a great, great job. Go check out the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington.
All righty. This text goes back to the struggles of the Phillies offense. This is from Joe. Say, gotta love the jabronis that cherry pick stats for Bohm like he's hitting 360 on days where it's 63 degrees and a light breeze. Left 4 runners on yesterday and another rolled over 3-1 pitch. Keep slamming that helmet down.
I mean, it was listless. It's so funny. And maybe is that Joe the Cynic probably. I saw the helmet and it pissed me off. It just pisses me off. It's just like, Joey, we don't throw our helmet. Joey, this is not what you do. I coached 16 to 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And at that age, you can tell kids, we're not tolerating this crap. I'm not tolerating that. Don't do it. It's not happening. Like, that sounds like something you teach little kids. Joey, when you don't succeed, we don't throw stuff. We don't do that.
They got shut out for 20 straight innings. I'd be a little bit ticked off too.
Then look at a freaking mirror.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Get a mirror.
I don't think when he throws his helmet, he's blaming anybody else. I think he's mad at himself. And Alec Bohm has had trouble with that over the years. I'm not going to defend the attitude. Like, we know that's been an issue with him. We'll see how it plays out as the season goes on.
Hopefully it gets better, because I actually think he has been misserved by this organization.
Absolutely. It's more of a Phillies problem than a Bohm problem. And to our texter Joe there saying cherry-picking Alec Bohm stats, he has the top 15 batting average in the sport since May 1st of last year. That's not cherry-picking.
That's not cherry-picking.
That's a long sample size of he's a great hitter for average.
Yes.
But when you have him in the cleanup spot, that's not what you need in that position.
And that's what I blame the organization.
Exactly.
All right, what else we got, Austin?
All righty. Yeah, of course. So, obviously, this is with only 12 games being with the season so far.
Sure.
Said, good morning. This is Kari from East Norton. Let's relax. John, last year you said to never judge them before Memorial Day, and here you are getting worked up with 12 games into the year.
Not true. My Memorial Day thing is about a team in the standings. I do not care about standings till Memorial Day. Memorial Day, my thing with Memorial Day is people saying they're in last place. I don't worry about the standings till Memorial Day. I let a team come together as wins, losses till Memorial Day. And I would say to you is that by keeping to that standard, the 2022 Phillies fired their manager at Memorial Day, went to the World Series, Game 6.
Yeah.
The 2023 Phillies were under 500 at Memorial Day, went to the National League Championship Series, Game 7. The going to Memorial Day the last 2 years, the Phillies have been great and then poop the pants in the playoffs. You never know. So I just let things ride. I'm not worried about where the Phillies are in the standings on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Individual players, absolutely. Individual player performances, I do absolutely care about.
I don't know. After the year that I saw from guys like JT last year, Brandon Marsh last year, where there was a major, major turnaround in the way that they were approaching at bats late in the year, it feels even early to evaluate individual players. There are guys that you can point to and say, hey, got to be better, stuff to work on, needs to change this, needs to change that. But when we talk manager, hitting coach, it's too early in the year for any type of change.
Let's get to today's headlines. In for Connor Thomas is my man Austin Jones.
Today's headlines with Austin Jones.
And today's headlines is brought to you by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. So, there's been news about some people going to space. I don't know if you've been paying attention to
I have been loving the
Artemis
pictures.
At all. Well, Artemis is currently on the way back. They're under Earth's gravitational pull now. They're only going about 1,700 miles an hour. No big deal. But on board, we got an Eagles and a Phillies fan. We have Christina Hammock-Hoke in space. She has been able to watch Eagles games while in space. Now, we love to say Eagles fans love to travel. They show out. I never thought they'd go to space.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. I'd be so petrified to do what they're doing.
Watching Eagles games?
No,
in
to
space?
do what they're doing.
No, I know.
Yeah, but believe me, watching Kevin Petullo's offense was one to be scared of.
That's why
Space
she
ain't
went
for
to
me.
space.
Exactly.
Yeah, to get as far away from that as possible. Space ain't for me, but it's very cool to think about the people up there being so connected, especially locally. Like, you always assume, I don't know, astronauts are like the best of the best. They're the greatest we have. And then it's just like, I could just imagine her up there screaming, Jalen, throw the damn ball. What the hell are you doing here? We're running this?
That we share some common DNA with some of the smartest people on Earth.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
There's some common DNA.
Someone in low Earth orbit just complaining about the Sticks defense. It just warms my heart.
Alrighty, up next. Last year, there was a new pope that was announced and brought into power, Pope Leo.
Yes.
Right? Pope Leo was also made out to be a White Sox fan, even though a lot of people thought he was going to be a Cubs fan. So the White Sox are rolling with it. They're going to have a promotion, and they're going to be giving out limited Pope Mateers to fans that are in certain sections referred as pews. Tickets must be bought through the team and not a third party. The promo is not stadium-wide, so only select fans will get the giveaway. It's going to take place August 11th against the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, I'm a giveaway person. If I was able to get that, I would definitely love to have it in the collection.
All right, can I just ask you this? As a Catholic, as a Roman Catholic, is there any other religion where you think that they would run a promotion like this?
No, I don't.
No,
Do you think they would,
probably
do you think they
not.
would run one and say, we're making a section that's a mosque? We're making a section, this is the synagogue section. There's something about it. It's like, Mike, there's a lot of people that will, like, you're looking at something and you're trying to decide what can be determined as being appropriate.
Yeah,
I'm just saying is Catholics, they're like, you could do any promotion you want. You would never have a section of the stadium be, this is the synagogue.
Well, I would say when I was with the New Jersey Devils, we had like Jewish Heritage Night. I
Right,
mean,
that's
obviously you don't have a whole synagogue, but we have, everything that would, relate to that type of evening. So I wouldn't say that, it's
Would they call
too
the
much.
section that they were in the synagogue?
I mean, for that hockey team, probably not.
No,
I
they
think
wouldn't.
this promotion is more for the individual, though. The fact that the Pope is from Chicago is just like, I love that they're taking advantage of this and riding it. Like, anytime you can do a fun, quirky promotion like the Zach Wheeler ribs thing, you milk that for all you can get.
Mind you, this is the White Sox, right? So they're not selling many
Yes.
tickets. So they got to spell special tickets to get people in the ballpark.
I need them on bidet night for when we're talking Murakami.
And as I would say as a Catholic, I don't have to listen to Pope Leo except when he's speaking under canon law. So since he's a Villanova guy, I don't really have to listen to him except if he puts something out under canon law. So the Villanova thing, I got to get used to. Got to get used to it.
All righty, last one here for you. We have a bright young star in Philadelphia, and VJ Edgecombe. He did a sit-down little interview with our man, Allen Iverson, and it was just a part where Allen Iverson was just giving VJ his props because VJ got that dog mentality.
The one thing I love about you the most is, yes, you have all the intangibles. You have everything that it takes, the whole arsenal in your offensive package. You know what I mean? It's only going to get better, but you got the one thing that you cannot teach, and that's that dog. You know what I mean? It reminds me so much of like Eric Snow and Aaron McKee. You know what I mean? He was just a dog. Like, we just put him on Kobe and, all the toughest matchups, and he relished, the moment. And that's how it seemed with you, you know what I mean? Just buckle up and throw the ball up and let's go. And whatever happened, happened.
If I'm VJ, I'm crying.
Yeah,
Like
that's
later on when I
incredible.
hear that, does it get any better?
But that AI's not wrong.
No, he's not
I think
wrong.
that's a fair evaluation of how we view VJ Edgecombe in this city. I'm wearing my VJ Max hat right now.
It's a great hat, and by the way, I have one of my buddies has texted me as I check my text messages, says, where'd Connor get the hat? You can't get the hat.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I'll tell you later, you cannot get the hat.
Unfortunately, TJ Maxx had some things to say about the VJ Maxx logo, but my buddy Jonas, who has been making these and putting them out, he's working on a solution.
He's not
there.
doing
So when they are available again, I'll
There we
let you
go.
know. Great stuff there, though.
That's good.
Great guy, VJ Edgecombe, to have on this
Oh,
team.
my gosh, that's so awesome. All right, coming up, we have the second half of the show, and we've got so much coming your way. Out of nowhere. The Flyers are looking to lock down a playoff spot. Sixers looking to climb out of the play-in tournament. Phillies end a road trip in San Francisco. Andrew DeCecco joins us. We're 2 weeks out till the draft. So much coming in. Your chance to win $1,000. Stay tuned. Right here on 97.5.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Flyers are going to continue to try to push for their playoff seeding, and they have a big matchup against the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Kevin Kurtz from The Athletic joined Kincade Salciunas yesterday and spoke about a potential matchup that could entice Philly fans.
I don't think anybody should be printing the playoff tickets just yet, but could they beat the Penguins in a 7-game series the way they're playing now? Absolutely. It's going to be interesting for them to watch if they do make the playoffs, because they're playing right now as well as anybody in the NHL.
The Phillies, well, their continued struggles against the Giants out in San Francisco continue on, as they haven't been able to win a series since 2013. They fell to the Giants 5-0 after Ravi Devers broke open the game in the 6th inning with a three-run home run. Now, the good club is going to be off today, but they'll be back Friday against the Arizona Diamondbacks with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. First pitch is set for 7:05. In the NBA, the 76ers are currently the 8th seed, and they have an opportunity to improve their position as they're going to take on the Houston Rockets tonight. Point guard campaign has been ruled out with a right hamstring strain. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. right here on The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk driving and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
Time for Fanatic Parlay Cash.
It's your chance to win some big cash today. Kind of willing to give some people some money today, right? Fanatics Parlay Cash, your chance to win $1,000. The contest keyword is dollar. DOLLAR. You got 25 minutes after the hour to enter it on the Fanatic app or at 975thefanatic.com or text it to the special contest short code 45911. One random entry wins $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley. So be sure to answer your phone. Go check out 975thefanatic.com. Get all the rules. Fanatics Parlay Cash has been standing straight up thanks to Iron Mountain Men's Health. You got 5 chances to win. This is your first. You get another one at 10 and at noon with Middays with Marks, and at 3 and at 5 with our friends at Unfiltered. Fanatics Parlay Cash. The word is dollar. Get it in.
If you want to see their wonderful faces, check out youtube.com/975 The Fanatic Philadelphia. More of Kincade Salciunas coming your way now.
Yes, now. Kincade Salciunas, Connor Thomas in for Andrew. And now it becomes a threesome. Well, we're going to put the Diana Rossini story.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The Diana Rossini story is for later. We'll talk about that one later. It is Andrew DeCecco in studio with us, as he usually is on Thursdays.
Howdy. How you guys doing?
How are you doing?
Good. What I can believe it for.
I love
Good to see you, man.
Yesterday,
Good to see you guys.
Yesterday afternoon, by the way, Connor, I went back and watched the last segment from yesterday.
Yeah.
When I had my fingers and I was doing this finger, I had my fingers together and I'm talking about something. I'm doing a thing and I was talking about an entanglement with the fingers, and I'm talking about the story. And I said something, and Connor goes, "I'm going to save you for yourself. Could you just move on?" Because referencing.
I heard that too.
Yes, it's just like, and I'm just sitting there going, with an entanglement. Yeah, entanglement is tough. There have been lots of entanglement stories, but hey, you've been entangled in everything we've got going on here at the Fanatic. And the top stories of the morning, look, this is not your normal April 9th here at the Fanatic. Because honestly, if I just look at it as like the last couple of years leaning on Andrew DeCecco for a ton of draft coverage, and we're going to get a ton of draft coverage into it with Andrew during the next couple hours. We're 2 weeks out of the draft, Andrew, and I think we talked less draft than we ever have.
Yeah, well, it seems that way, but not from my perspective. I guess for me, I cover the Eagles, so I'm fully immersed in it.
Right.
Certainly now that we're 2 weeks out, but generally, yes, because you have the Phillies and what's going on with them 12 games in, the Flyers, the Sixers, so there's a lot of talking points. But for me, nothing's really changed. It's business as usual.
I knew he's going to be business as usual.
Yeah, he's always zoned in. Now, part of the reason is the sports cycle here in Philadelphia right now. But another thing we brought up earlier was that maybe the faith level in Howie with what he's done with the premium picks and the stretch that he's on right now, even though it's a huge draft for the Eagles, the concern level feels low with the fan base, which for an angsty fan base like the Eagles, that's not typical.
Yeah, because Howie Roseman really has had a strong track record of success dating back for a number of years now. And they've draft-proofed the roster so they're able to go into it without any obvious need, so it eliminates the urge to reach at a position of need. And I think there's this trust level, Connor, that Howie Roseman's going to be able to assess and evaluate and bring in the best player that can help the Eagles now and also down the line. So I don't get as much angst. I'm with you there.
Quinn heard us talk about this yesterday on the show. He sends an email yesterday, and he says, "I know DeCecco comes in on Thursdays." So he says along. Does Andrew DeCecco hold your same level of confidence in Howie that you and Connor seem to be bobbleheads for? He is not as big of blind. He says, I'll quote exactly. "I am not as big a blind faith advocate of Howie Roseman on draft night as you guys seem to be."
Okay.
So he wants to hear from you.
Did he offer any examples as to why?
No, he's just saying he's not as big a blind faith. He goes, early on. He says later on.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. I just did a podcast with Adam Kaplan where we went through the Eagles' Day 3 selections, I think 2021, the start of the Nick Sirianni era, to right now. But on Day 3, you're looking to fill depth. You're not looking for starters. If you get a starter,
you're thrilled.
You're thrilled. You're over the moon. That's great evaluation. But for Days 1 and Days 2 of the draft, Howie Roseman has knocked it out of the park. You look back, I think that Jalen Reagor year is the one that comes to mind, but you have to date all the way back to 2020 for that.
What have they changed? What have they changed? Because it wasn't always that way, obviously, and now they've been one of the best hit rates in the NFL.
They're looking towards college football powerhouses, players that have won a lot of football games. They have a lot of experience. They competed on the highest level. And one question that I know that they always ask and they prioritize is, do you love football? because if you love football, you're going to be committed to the cause. You're going to do whatever it takes to be successful and to buy in. And I look at the roster, a lot of the players, most of the players, have really just fit in seamlessly with the culture, and that's a big thing as well. You get the FaceTime, you meet at the Combine, you meet at the Shrine Bowl, you meet at the Senior Bowl, the Hula Bowl, wherever they're playing, you meet with these guys, then you bring them in. If you want to get a more personal assessment of them, you bring them in on a 30 visit. So the Eagles really do their due diligence when it comes to draft picks, and I think there's no mistake as to why they've been so successful and why you're seeing them build a roster that's equipped for sustained success.
So where are teams at right now in their process? Do you believe the Eagles know who they want? I know you have to let the board fall and everything, but how set? We know the Raiders are really set being up at the top.
Sure.
But outside of the number one overall pick, with this amount of time till the draft, how confident are they in the direction they're going to go, or are they still evaluating?
I assume that they're still evaluating. There's always a big board that you have. There's a lot of 30 visits that are going on right now. This is where you're seeing it ramped up a little bit with some of the more preeminent prospects who you're now seeing reported to visit certain teams. So you have an idea of where a lot of these players might be slotted and scenarios for if this player drops or if they fall within this striking distance, are we willing to trade up for them and things like that. But I don't know you could ever go into a draft, Connor, with a concrete, this is what we're going to do. It's more so these are our options that we feel pretty strongly about, and we would feel good with any of these players.
Okay, we have a ton of draft talk coming up with Andrew DeCecco as he's going to get you ready for day 2 value picks is on the menu coming up a little bit later on, which is great. I love day 2 of the draft. Like, I like day 2 the way you like day 3.
Yeah, I like day 3 a lot, maybe a little bit less so than I have in recent years. It's a lot. It's a long day. And it's a lot of work.
Last year, I 3-putted a couple times on day 3, and I tried not to text Andrew on day 3 of the draft, but I did have a couple 3-putts. It was a long day for me because I can't do day 3. I can't
Well, it starts at noon and it goes till 6, and then you have to monitor the rookie free agent signings and things like that.
And
so
you're
really,
all over it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it goes. You're working till 10 or 11 that night.
And as long as we have you doing it, why can't I golf? Right?
Oh, he's the expert.
That's what I do.
That's what it is.
That's what I do.
All right,
appreciate you.
We got a trifecta of things going on, though. Phillies have a day off. Phillies come home. They win a series. They lose a series in San Francisco. Stop me if you've heard that before. But they come home 6-6. Not a big deal. They'll take on the Diamondbacks this weekend. So a 6-6, I'm not in the least bit concerned. But there are glowing like bright light signs that tell me a lot of things haven't changed.
Yeah. And really going into the season, it wasn't the pitching that I had reservations about. It was the lineup because, yes, they did run it back, despite what you may hear, despite what the consensus is. And I think what probably wasn't taken into account was the possibility of a regression from your aging star players. And I revert back to the Eagles for a moment because the talent level on offense was the same last season, but you weren't getting the same level of production from a lot of those players. In fact, if you really look at the offense, Devontae Smith might be the only player that really made a notable step forward. So for the Phillies, yeah, the lineup is the same. It's the one that's carried you at different points of the season. It's gotten you in the postseason, but the results have been the same, and now they're a year older. So to me, I was kind of expecting it. My question was, what's different? What's going to change? And right now, it's a lot more of the same.
Yeah, that's to be expected, right? And 12 games into a season with a core of players that you've seen for years, you're going to see the same problems. I don't know that people like just Men in Black flash themselves on opening day and we're just like, oh, okay, let's see what this team's issues are. It was going to be the same strengths, the same weaknesses, but there are a couple of things that you're going to watch develop over the year. Right? Can the depth pieces be different? Can they take a step? Because they have more room to improve. Can Adolis Garcia add right-handed pop? He's had a solid start to the year. I'd still like to see more out of him. What is Justin Crawford going to be in the 9-hole? I think that's a major difference this year compared to really the past 3 years where they've been just putting somebody in that spot rather than having somebody for that.
I'm loving it, by the way. I'm loving seeing this kid get his opportunity to play every day.
And he looks increasingly comfortable the more opportunities that he's getting, and that's only going to improve throughout the season, obviously. But this is a team that has been really power reliant, And it's a tough way to live when you're expecting Kyle Schwarber to, bail us out if we're struggling at the plate. Or Bryce Harper, we need you to really, 35, 40 home runs would be really nice because we're kind of banking on that. It's just a really tough way to live.
Yeah, there's just no way to change that with where we're at right now with the roster and the contract situation. They are who they are, and you're going to have to live with it for the regular season.
Flyers go for the jugular tonight. Flyers go for the jugular. It'll be on WMMR because there will be a Sixers game here on the Fanatic as the Sixers will take on the Houston Rockets. Two different teams in different scenarios. I say it's a Flyers jugular night. I have guaranteed it with a G. If the Flyers win tonight, when the Flyers win tonight and the Columbus Blue Jackets lose at Buffalo, it's over. With a capital O, it's done. It's over. Save the tape. It's done. There will be 3 games left, but it's done. It's not a black cat. There's nothing to worry about, Connor. It's done. I promise you.
Okay, I'll listen. I'll take your word for it. I'll feel comfortable when they're locked in.
Yeah, me too.
That's where I'm at.
It's done tonight. I'm telling you it's done. It'll be over tonight if those 2 things happen. By the way, Detroit's going to come out like their hair's on fire.
Hey, so are the Flyers. Well, let's go.
I hope.
Best on best.
Presumably.
They came out the other night against the Devils, and that was great.
I don't see this team with a letdown. Like, that proved everything I need to know about where they're at mentally. Now, are they good enough? We'll see. Are they going to win? We'll see. But I don't think they're going to come into any game the rest of the way unmotivated. And Andy, I know that you've been following what they've been doing. Something we're asking people to do today, too, because we have a pair of Flyers tickets to give away to the game that John believes could be the clincher of
I
a
think
postseason
the
spot.
statistical clincher that, like, Monday night, it actually, Tim Saunders is yelling it. The Flyers are going to the playoffs. Yes, it could be.
That's the Hurricanes. So that's a good opponent. So we're asking people to get us fired up with the voice memos, too. How fired up are you with this team?
Well, it's in the midst of my draft coverage and things like that. So, but I am obviously cognizant of what's going on and aware, and I think it's great. You could have playoff hockey here in Philadelphia for the first time since 2018. That's obviously great for the city, and it helps with the camaraderie.
I'm so excited. I'd love to go to a playoff game. Just would absolutely love it.
Could this be a year where all 4 teams make the postseason consecutively? Could we have that?
Sure.
Is that a dream that we can
Well, the
dream here in
76ers have to
Philadelphia?
win the play-in tournament unless they beat Houston tonight. Beat Houston tonight, you got a good chance. Like, it's going to be to get yourself. If you don't win tonight, you're in the play-in tournament.
Yes, that is correct.
So you got to win tonight, or else you're going to be playing in that Fugazi thing because you're not in the playoffs. It's a play-in tournament for a reason. You're playing to get into the playoffs. You're not a playoff team because you play in the play-in tournament. This is like the first 4 that they play to get into the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like the AFC South game on Saturday of the wild card round. Like, you're in, but you're not.
No.
Really
Those teams are in.
The Texans-Jaguars game that you get every year.
Oh, yeah.
The NBA does not count it as you're in the playoffs.
No, I know. I'm being tongue-in-cheek there.
Fringe.
Yeah, it's like Jablonski Auto Parts. You're not in yet. So, Andrew Tucheko. I've been waiting to get into this with him because, by the way, a lot of people were giving a little bit of grief yesterday to what I considered was incredible that Adam Schefter gave no restrictions on talking about the Diana Rossini story, and that he came on, personal friends with Diana, a colleague years ago, and he came on and didn't give us any restrictions on asking questions about it. And people were like, boy, he really sort of clammed up. He didn't know what to say. And I would just say to people, and I did say it on social media, I'm like, imagine you're talking about somebody who is a friend and a coworker, and it's one of the reasons why when an Eagle screws up or a Philly screws up, how many times do you hear an Eagle or a Philly speak up and say, yeah, let me talk about my teammate? They don't. And I admired Adam yesterday for having an opinion on the matter when that personal relationship is in place.
Yeah.
And he still offered an opinion, and he felt for the families first.
Yes, and some people felt he couched it, but you have to understand, like, this is someone he knows personally. It's different than you out there as a fan saying, oh, look at what Diana Rossini's doing. So I don't blame Shefty at all. But we were having the conversation about reporting and how this handles. There's a lot of nuance to the idea of being an NFL insider or covering a team as a beat reporter and the relationships that go on with the people you cover that I don't think people from the outside fully understand that. So what are your thoughts on when you saw this and just your general reaction as someone who covers the Eagles?
Well, first and foremost, I don't comment on anyone's personal life. What they do is their own business. But from the football perspective, which is the only thing that I care about, I can always speak for how I do the job. And for me, I pride myself first and foremost on integrity and doing things the right way and building sources and building professional relationships. And I think as a journalist, that's your duty. You have that responsibility, and I make sure that I'm always abiding by that and hold myself to the highest standards, and hopefully that shines through. But that's the way that I approach it, and I always make it a point to ensure that those lines aren't being blurred. But that's me.
Now, as a journalist, it's different, though, than what we do every day. Like, as far as those type of things. Like, yesterday I was looking, and I'm going, because we're just in a conversation, and one of my buddies goes, well, how do you handle it with athletes that you get to know?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. And he's like, how many Eagles could you talk to today? You don't see them. I said, I could text 2 Eagles. 2 Eagles I could send a text to.
Yeah.
I said 2 people that work for the Eagles, or 3 I could send a text to. I said, but that doesn't make me what Diana Rossini does or what Andrew DeCecco does. I said, that's different. I said, being an embedded reporter or being one of those, it's a completely different job, what I do and what you do.
Right.
And that is what a lot of people don't understand. Like, we're not reporters. We're in a different situation.
No, we're idiots on the radio.
Exactly.
That's why we bring you in.
Exactly.
You're not idiots.
Exactly. I've gotten texts from you calling me. No, but I mean, it's like, I think it's a different job. And a lot of people think media is the same job.
Yeah, they're kind of all put under one umbrella, and that's kind of frustrating because there's different levels to it. There's different job requirements. There's different expectations. And for me, what I do is when you cover a team, it's my responsibility, or for whoever covers any professional team, to be able to, I guess, demonstrate or provide information and context as to what's going on with your favorite football team. And so that's my job. And you gather information, you build sourcing, and you keep things professional. That's the way that I've always gone about it, and I just always try to do the right thing.
I will say that just to take people behind curtains. I say, because one of my buddies yesterday was saying, but there's no difference between what you do and you're a journalist too. He goes, you're being semantics. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I will tell you this. I sometimes get stories from personal relationships that then I can't research the way that a guy like Andrew DeCecco can, or a guy that other media members that I know can. And there are many times in our relationship where I've texted you and said, I'm hearing this, but I don't research it. I'm not in the scrums like you are. I'm not in the trenches like you. I said, have you heard anything about this? Do you know this? And that's the kind of thing, too, is that people don't realize is that you got to work sources. And I know with you keep it very professional. Mm-hmm. You keep it very professional with the people you cover.
That's always very important to me. And I'm glad that you said that. And that's one of the aspects of what I do that I pride myself on most.
Because you don't want to get the line skewed.
You can't, because then it alters perception, and you don't want to do that.
Speaking of altering perception, so we've established the parameters of what we believe this relationship should be, but being what it is now, a lot of Eagles fans are questioning everything about the A.J. Brown news. I would love to hear, when we come back, your thoughts on how this affects the way the fan base should look at this story. Should it or shouldn't it? Because that was a big question we had yesterday.
And Connor's got an idea for the Phillies, a change of his own, because he won't fire Kevin Long. He's got a Kevin Long jersey on right now. Plus, we'll get feedback from your text and voice memos when Kincade Salciunas continues here on The Fanatic. Hey, the BetParx app has got you covered for pro golf's biggest weekend of the year. They teed off this morning in Augusta, and it's the only major golf event played at the same event and same venue every year. It's the 90th edition of the best event ever in golf. And you can bet individual golf performances, bet in matches, top finishers, and more. It's time to play. Make your downtime fun time on the BetParx online casino and sportsbook app. There's always another way to win. You can play all your favorite casino games, bet on your favorite sports, plus hundreds of hot online slots. Some of you love the Huff and Puff Money Mansion game. Look, I'm about playing a little blackjack online sometimes, too, when I'm waiting at the doctor's office and more. And you can even play with a live dealer. Plus, there's always other ways to win because you can get up to $1,000 in bonus back in your first 24 hours. Got to check out betparks.com and get all the details for that. But I'm going to wager a little golf before I get on the plane today because you can only play if you're in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. So before I leave, my bets will be in. The BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. There's always another way to win. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The San Francisco curse continues. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. It's been since 2013 since the Phillies have won a series in San Francisco against the Giants, and well, the drought's going to continue for a little bit longer. A struggling offense couldn't provide Aaron Nola any run support, and then in the sixth inning, Raffy Devers took Nola deep for a 3-run home run to break open the game, and the Giants went on to win and take the series. Phillies manager Rob Thompson spoke post-game about the offensive woes.
I think you just got to stay the course. These guys are going to hit. It's just a matter of time, and we're just going through a dry spell, and we haven't really hit all that much the entire season, to be honest, but they're going to hit at some point.
The Good Club is off today, and they'll be returning Friday night against the Arizona Diamondbacks for a weekend series where Jesus Luzardo will get the first start. First pitch will be at 7:05. In case you missed the hottest team in the NHL, don't worry. The Flyers are back in action tonight against the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with puck drop beginning at 7 p.m. In the NBA, the Sixers are currently the 8th seed and have an opportunity to improve their position against the Houston Rockets. Cam Payne is going to be out with a right hamstring strain, and tip-off is going to be at 8 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Fanatic app.
It's been flying along this morning on this Kincade Salciunas. Connor Thomas in for Andrew. So we had to bring in another Andrew. Andrew Pacheco, as he usually joins us on Thursdays. Good to see him in here. And I understand we have a voice memo. Austin Jones. Somebody trying to win those Flyers tickets for Monday night versus the Hurricanes. So, Connor, remind everybody to win the tickets, a pair of tickets to see the Flyers and the Hurricanes on Monday night. What do they need to do?
Huge game tonight. You need to get us fired up for the Flyers taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Not that we need to be fired, like we already are, but I want to hear the people's excitement. So at 610-632-0975, send us a voice memo, whether that's just like screaming into your phone like a madman at a stoplight, or it's you actually breaking down like what you want to see from the Flyers tonight. I want to hear that Flyers excitement, and it sounds like we have someone who's done that.
Let's see.
Hey, this is Jake from Abington. I just wanted to say, let's go, Philly! Get fired up! This team is hungry, and they're young, and they're ready to win! We need everybody to get on board and get gritty! Rick Tocchet is going to take this team to the promised land! Zegras, Konechny, Dvorak, Michkov, Vladar, and Risto! Let's go, Flyers!
Oh, my gosh, I love it.
it.
Okay, put his name down. I mean, you got to say he's the one to beat. Of the ones that we've listened to, he's the one to beat.
That's what we're looking for right there.
His voice was like going out.
Texts only do so much, and we love when you hit the Davis Honda text line. We love having those conversations.
You still use the Davis Honda text line to send in your voice memo.
But I want to make sure that we hear the actual emotion that this team's creating for people in this city.
He almost lost his voice at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Connor was using Detroit, as he says, Detroit. He uses the Detroit. Are you a Detroit or are you a Detroit person?
Detroit.
You're a Detroit person.
Yeah.
I flipped.
I had to think for a second.
I just think of
the Detroit Lions. Yeah,
I just think of Steve Perry, and it's always bothered me, Mr. Factual, that Steve Perry singing in "Don't Stop Believing." That's
born and raised in South Detroit.
There is no such thing as South
Or
Detroit.
he says South Detroit.
Yeah, he does. Born and raised in South Detroit.
There's a South everything.
There is no such thing as South Detroit.
Yeah.
There's no South
Philly,
Detroit.
South
You'd
Jersey.
be in the
There's
water.
South everything.
South Detroit, you'd be in the water.
Hell, there's even a South Carolina.
There is no South Detroit. So that has never been a thing, and Steve Perry made it up.
Well,
so
Steve Perry is one of my
great
favorite
song.
singers, so
I think he's
I'm
one
going to
of-
give him a pass.
How about one of the five best voices I believe in music?
Yeah, and I'm not even a huge Journey fan, but Steve Perry, his vocal range is
Amazing.
insane. Yeah.
Coming up next, why there's not even a stairway to heaven. That's one
There
of
you
those.
go. So Connor's got an idea for the Phillies change of his own. Now, I suggested earlier that at some point you can't fire players, but you've got to do something and you've got to say something that there's some accountability. And I'm not counting it as 12 games. I'm counting it as I can't believe that Kevin Long continues to be the hitting coach of this team. I would do something, even ceremonial, to just shake things up. Connor scoffed. Are you scoffing at me?
Yeah, April 9th, I think talking about reassigning or eliminating
I'm not
a hitting
reassigning,
coach
yes.
is a little too premature. I think Memorial Day is a good barometer if you're still seeing a lot of the same issues surfacing. And I understand if many out there are assuming a lot of these same issues are going to be persisting, then maybe you consider it. But right now, I mean, it kind of – I think
Too knee-jerk for you,
Well, I think sometimes the impact of coaches, and I was just talking to Connor about this, is a little overvalued. I'm always players first. And I think that really
accountability should always go
I think
to the
that was really
players
reflected
first.
when I spoke on that during the Eagles season. But it's players first. They're up there. They're the ones who are going through the at-bat. They've been playing baseball for a long time. And I think Connor's description was kind of funny. I mean, like, they're not going to wear a Bluetooth in their ear and say, okay, let this one go. Okay, swing. Players are getting paid a lot of money to go out there and execute what they, go off of instinct, go off of feel, go off of your experience all these years of playing. And I think to kind of put the scope on the hitting coach is, I think that's a little short-sighted. This is the same lineup that's had a lot of issues year over year, and maybe you do things differently by sitting down a certain player. I don't know that firing a coach at this point, at this juncture, would be beneficial to anyone.
Juncture. That's a big word. All right. I'm going to let this thing cook.
Like, we've talked about Sirianni potentially being on the hot seat this year for the Eagles. Like, if they have...
I don't look at it that way, but some people do.
Well, you've said that if they have the same result, he's going to get fired.
No, but he's not. I don't. I believe he'll be fired if they don't win. I don't look at him. He wouldn't be on the hot seat for me.
Yeah, but this would be like the Eagles, and some folks, I guarantee you, agree with that, with the questions that are being asked about him and the Kevin Patullo stuff last year. Bottom line is, if they lose the first 2 games of the year, this would be like saying Sirianni's got to go. It's not where we're at right now. It doesn't mean the job is safe for Rob Thompson or Kevin Long.
Sure.
It just means we're not there.
So what's your idea for Philly's change? There has to be something that can be changed up, because this isn't the one thing I'm not going to tolerate, and I'm not going to take it from you, Connor Thomas, is the 12-game argument. Because it has not been 12 games of Sleepy Rob and dealing with Kevin Long. It's not 12 games. It is year upon year upon year of data, and nothing ever changes. So give me something that could potentially change.
Yeah, I'm not telling you you're wrong to have issues with Rob Thompson and Kevin Long. I'm just saying now's not the time. What you're doing now, I'm not even normally at this point in the season, change the lineup guy. I think you have to let stuff bake in as much as you can with a team like this where you have a very established hierarchy. But one thing has got to change.
Okay.
Bryson Stott's got to be dropped in the lineup. He just has to.
I agree with you there.
I understand hitting him 5th early on in the season because he was red hot in spring training, and you want to reward him for that. I don't think that was a misstep by the Phillies, but he has been dreadful to start the year. And Brandon Marsh has been really good. And Brandon Marsh is going to be in the lineup a lot because Otto Kemp has not been really good. So I don't even know where that platoon stands. But Bryson Stott and Edmundo Sosa are locked into a platoon for the foreseeable future. And when Stott plays, he needs to be batting 7th or lower. That change needs to happen now.
I don't have any problem with that. It's like the Phillies just need more spots at the bottom of their lineup to play so many of these guys, to maybe get the most out of them. So many guys in their lineup should be hitting 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, it's like they don't have enough guys who should be hitting towards the top.
Well, no, it balances out well once we get there. 6, 7, 8, 9 should be some combination of Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, JT Realmuto, and Justin Crawford. And that would mean Garcia moving up into the cleanup spot and Marsh hitting behind him at 5. But for the cleanup
Even
spot...
Marsh as a 5, I don't like.
Well, listen, man. Watch the way he's swinging the bat right now.
No, I got you.
I didn't love the idea of Bryson Stott at 5, but the reason they did it was because he was red hot in spring training. And Marsh has been putting together some really good at-bats. Face value, you say Brandon Marsh, 5-hole hitter, this team is screwed. But you got to look at what the guy's doing. And right now he's earned to move up, and Stott has earned to move down.
Then I don't hate your idea. I don't hate your idea. In fact, I'm willing to wait till Andrew Pacheco's self-imposed moratorium on Memorial Day. And I'm willing to, as long as I see Rob do something like you do. So is Rob going to listen to Connor Thomas?
Well, that's the
Or is Rob just going to sit there and stare off into space like he does every single game? The listless, lifeless stare off into space. Is that what I'm going to get? Because you are giving me something. I don't agree with you on, like we have a disagreement on this, but you gave a very reasonable explanation there that I said, okay, if I can't get Pacheco to have my back, then I'm going to say, okay, I'll listen to both of you. I'll go halfway with him and halfway with you.
You got a lot of righties coming up in this series with the Diamondbacks, so it means you're going to have the lefties in the lineup. You will see Stott and Marsh a bunch. And I'll be looking very closely to see if they flip him. My gut feeling would be no, because like I said, it's early. And I'm not normally a change the lineup this early guy, but I'm ready to see that because both players have earned the moves in those directions.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I think you have to. When you've gotten blanked that many times, yeah. I mean, you gotta do something.
You have to, right?
You have to shake up the lineup and toggle the order a little bit. You know, there's always so many cards you could play, though. As you were saying last segment, Connor, this is the offensive crew based off contracts. You could look at roster construction, and I've often criticized that because there's always so much they can do.
And guess what? When we get to June, they're going to be in the mix. And their record's going to look totally fine compared to their peers.
But what's going to be different?
That is the problem.
Yeah, and the thing is that is the problem.
But there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it on April 9th.
There's nothing you're telling me there's nothing that can be done.
Nope. Nothing that can be done. They are the team that they are right now. We will see how it goes as the season continues. Trade deadline's going to be interesting. record in the middle of the season is going to be interesting.
If you fired the manager, let's just say, I'm not telling you that. You're telling me that no new manager would come in here and do anything different. He'd say there's nothing that can be done on April 9th.
We wouldn't be able to tell for another month, even if he did get rid of Rob Thompson.
What
do they get hot
I don't
for?
believe it. I don't believe it.
No, it could change things.
Rob Thompson came in and they won 11 games in a row or something, didn't they?
Yes, he came in
with
June.
the same team. I
And
understand.
even doing that, we didn't even want them to make the postseason at the end of the year, and they went to the World Series.
They were terrible.
We don't have nearly enough to evaluate whether or not it will change. I'm not saying his job is safe. I'm just saying now's not the time.
Andrew Pacheco tells you where you're going to find value on day 2 of the draft. Next, Kincade and Salciunas on the Fanatic. Going to tell you there's so much buzz around this weekend. I'm talking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's here. It's Benari Jewelers' April Bridal event. They're breaking their own rules because they're going to give you the best prices of the year this weekend on engagement rings and wedding bands. So if you've been shopping for that ring, the one you need, forget about anything you've seen before because Benari is setting a new bar for how much you're going to save. This weekend, you're going to save up to 20% on thousands of rings. You're also going to meet some of the top bridal designers. It's such a big deal that Benari has designers flying in with their entire collections for the entire weekend. And they're the ones she loves from Instagram. So they're all going to be on sale. You're going to be saving up to 20% on virtually all of Benari's engagement rings and wedding bands this weekend. The best pricing of the year and something even more special for you. You're buying this weekend, you're going to get interest-free financing with approved credit. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Check out BenariJewelers.com and get all the details of this amazing event. But you're going to go see my friends at Benari in Exton or Newtown Square. But when you go in, be sure to tell them that John Kincade sent you.
The unfiltered.
So much coming up, including Scott Lauber of the Inquirer after the top of the hour. He's the one who got to speak the other day with another Scott Boras, who yesterday a member of the national media told me they think that he may be the most powerful man in sports.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of talking about. I said in baseball, and I said maybe in sports.
Most powerful man. That came up because I brought that up. I said that you said that. And he goes, yeah, that could be. He said, give me the other people who would compete with him. He rewrites.
Rich Paul, maybe?
Rosenhaus?
Yeah.
No, but they rewrite the rules. He says nobody rewrites the rules for the entire industry of their sport like Scott Boras.
Yeah.
All the other agents just fall into suit and copy everything that he does. And it's amazing. And the longevity of it is incredible.
Yeah, and Lauber is going to have some great stuff for us on
Looking
how
forward to it.
What Boras is doing. A lot of Phillies are Boras clients. So
that's right.
And they get along great with him. John Middleton has a great relationship with him.
Yeah.
So does It's a Good Club. But Andrew DeCecco gets us ready for day 2 of the draft, the Friday night, the value pick. So it's 15 days out, and you do see value in that second round. And obviously, there's not that many guys who get real first-round grades, so the second round's where you got to make some hay.
Yeah, so I'd first start at the wide receiver position, and Jeremy Bernard from Alabama is a player that I think could go anywhere from 45 to where the Eagles are picking at 54. Wide receiver Chris Bell from Louisville is another player who falls right within that range. So if the Eagles elect to bypass taking a receiver in the first round, they're going to have some options there. Chris Brazzell from Tennessee is another wide receiver that I think would fit in perfectly in this offense, would complement Devontae Smith. He's 6'4". He can get vertical. He can win in those contested catch situations. So wide receiver for me is a really good spot if you need one in the second round.
Do all of those wide receivers that you just listed, is there one common attribute that they all have? Like a certain height that they hit, a certain size that they hit, weight that they hit?
It's a great question, John. And they all share a different type of skill set. Like Chris Bell, for example, has a body type like A.J. Brown, meaning he's compactly built, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's coming off an injury, but he was really productive last season when he was available, was a volume type of player, can be a manufactured touch player, which this offense certainly needs, and really work these short to intermediate levels and create yards after the catch. I like him quite a bit, and I think he's sort of being lost in the mix a little bit when you look at all of the other receivers in this class.
Where else could they go on day 2 outside of the receiver position? Because there's a chance. Some mock drafts have them go a receiver 1, which I would lose my mind on. But what else could they look at?
Well, I would look at edge rusher, where there's a number of players who I like at the top of the second round and who could even be available for the Eagles at 54. Malachi Lawrence out of UCF, one of my favorite pass rushers in this class. Zion Young out of Missouri. Not quite sure he has the build that would work for this defense. He's a little bit on the pure defensive end type of size, maybe 270-ish, but I think that he offers a lot of upside to the right system. Gabe Jackas from Illinois, another player who I believe is going to go at the top of the second round. R. Mason Thomas. The R actually stands for nothing, as I learned at the Combine when we asked him. It doesn't stand for anything. But he's sort of undersized at 6'2", 240, quick, lightning quick. Talked about how he models his game after Nick Bonito of the Denver Broncos. I believe that he's going to be that kind of explosive edge rusher, but you do have questions, of course, based on his size and his ability to anchor and play the run. So there's 4 edge rushers right there that I think would be a really good fit on this defense, maybe with the exception of Zion. Yeah.
Only Connor would like a guy that has a letter for a first name that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, well.
That doesn't mean anything.
What was his last name again?
R. Mason Thomas.
Yeah, well, he's a cousin.
Could be.
Part of the Thomas clan. I got to like him. Now, let's ask the nuclear bomb Eagles question of day 2. How likely is quarterback? And if so, where are they looking?
I don't know that it's I don't know that it's likely. I think day 3 would be the more likeliest of scenarios, and there's a number of quarterbacks there. It's not a strong quarterback class, though, Connor. So if the Eagles really want a quarterback, maybe like a Garrett Nussmeier, who would be more along the lines of a third-round pick, maybe they would go that route just to ensure that you're getting a player who can help you as a depth option. But I think 4th, 5th round, maybe even 6th round, like a Joe Fagnano from UConn, who's a little bit of an older prospect, strong arm, avoids turnovers, might be someone that would fit the bill. But the Eagles do value the quarterback position, and they don't call themselves the quarterback factory for nothing. That being said, they have so many other needs, needless to say, that taking a quarterback on day 2, regardless of how much you may like them, I mean, I think that would be a little malpractice. But
didn't stop him in 2020.
But here's the other part of this. If you draft a quarterback, even in the 4th round, and I think we might have been talking about this on Monday, you're not going to cut a 4th-round pick. You already have Tanner McKee and you have Andy Dalton. I mean, that certainly complicates things. Maybe you get to training camp and all of a sudden you realize that Andy Dalton's lost it a little bit or what. But all of a sudden, you're not carrying 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If the Eagles pick at 23?
23.
And I've heard from most people they don't believe there are 23 first-round grades. And I'm hearing that you see a lot of value in the 2nd round.
I do, yeah.
Would there be any value? Everyone always talks about Howie and trading up. Would you see any value in potentially trading back?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And picking up more real estate in this draft? Or potentially for next year's?
I would. I wouldn't necessarily trade up unless you really are bullish on Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. Or there's an offensive tackle who you believe is going to be a plug-and-play starter down the line when Lane Johnson decides to walk away.
I called him about Sadiq the other.
There's so much value that trading down would afford you a lot of flexibility to add a number of players who can help you at positions of need.
I feel like I'm going to get mad on draft night for day 1 because if they trade back, I'm going to be upset. And if they don't draft an offensive tackle, I'm going to be upset.
But then day 2 could be of more value.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Here's my thought process on it.
Okay.
Right? And this might be short-sighted, and this comes from dumb football brain, which is why it's good we have smart football brain. No more Jeff Stoutland. And if you're going to go with a day 2 option as the future replacement for Lane Johnson, I wonder about Cooper developing him. I wonder about what that path to playing is. I'd rather go with where the offensive line is at right now, like as sure of a prospect as you can get as a Lane Johnson replacement, than more of a project type of player to be a high-level guy. Maybe I'm overvaluing what Jeff Stoutland did in the development of these players, but I don't think I am.
Well, you can also trade down in the 1st round and pick up somebody perhaps like a Blake Miller from Clemson, who I like quite a bit, and could be value there. And Max Ihonachor from Arizona State.
Who? Oh, God, don't pick him.
Yeah.
We'll screw that up.
He would be a good 2nd round value, I think.
Not sure. I got it. I think we got it.
Don't be not sure about that. Hey, we could recap the top morning stories. Scott Lauber from the Inquirer tells us what he believes is behind the Scott Boras Media Blitz next, as Kincade Salciunas continues 1 hour to run here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Wawa. Wawa $6 meal deal is back. Get a sandwich, small fountain drink, and Hers chips, all for $6, limited time. Gotta have a Wawa. Now the Flyers are all gaining the city's attention now as their playoff momentum is gaining steam. The Flyers were off last night, and even with that being said, Kevin Kurz from The Athletic joined Kincade Salciunas yesterday, and he hinted at a playoff potential matchup that could get the city hyped up.
I don't think anybody should be printing the playoff tickets just yet, but could they beat the Penguins in a 7-game series the way they're playing now? Absolutely. It's going to be interesting for them to watch if they do make the playoffs because they're playing right now as well as anybody in the NHL.
The hottest team in the NHL is back on the ice tonight as the Flyers are going to battle the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic at 7 o'clock. A quiet Phillies offense was no help to Aaron Nola as the Bats was shut out for the past 20 innings. Hopefully the Bats wake up this weekend at home as they will be taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks starting Friday night with Jesus Luzardo on the mound. In the NBA, the Sixers are trying to improve their playoff positioning, but they're stuck in the 8th seed. They have a game tonight against the Houston Rockets to try to improve that. They'll have to do it without Campaign, who's ruled out with a right hamstring strain. Tip-off is for 8 p.m. right here on The Fanatic. I'm Austin Jones in the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
back to the show.
You can't cut out the part where I said Columbus has to lose, too.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of bad editing there. Bad editing.
Oh, we edited ourselves.
Flyers win. Columbus loses tonight. I give the guarantee. It's over. It's over. Done. Finished. Over.
I hope you're right.
Guaranteed. It'll be over. Start the party tomorrow morning. I will not wake up at 4 in the morning to be with you, Connor. I'll be away, but for a wedding tomorrow. But you will start the party tomorrow morning because they will
myself and Amy Fadul. We'll be partying.
You guys
I'm
can
gonna tell
party.
her to bring the Mad Dog, just like the Super Bowl back.
Amy might wear the bright orange gown.
Party like it's 2018.
There we go. We have so much coming up. Scott Lauber from the Inquirer joins us. He'll tell us about his interesting conversation with Scott Boras. And yesterday, heard Jason Stark saying he believes it is the agenda of Scott Boras to get Bryce Harper a new contract. And again, I absolutely believe Scott Boras would want him to get a new contract. But Scott Boras isn't doing anything unless he says to do it. Bryce Harper's not saying, oh, yeah, Scott, you deal with my future and you do whatever you want to do with my future and my brand. No one cares about their brand in this town, arguably, more than Bryce Harper. He's making stupid lattes on TikTok.
Hey, they might be good.
He posts his own, like, let's put the Not Elite shirts on. He obsesses on this crap.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture of me in a walking in my Fanatic, fuzzy socks, whatever it is.
Make sure you get the right angle. I want
He
to
obsesses
make sure you
on
get
this
the Fanatic,
stuff.
yeah.
There's no way he's just saying, yeah, Scott Boras, do whatever you want with my career.
No, I don't think that's it.
Want.
I don't think that's it. But it doesn't have to be either extreme. Like Scott Boras has influence over his clients' decisions because
I think he takes his advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't dictate to Bryce Harper and go, Bryce, I'm doing this. Shut up. Go play baseball.
No, but if it's Scott Boras goes to Bryce Harper and he says, hey, I know you feel this way, but here's why I think you should do this. And Bryce is like, okay, sure, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, he signs off on it.
Put that out there. It's just not fully a Bryce Harper, like, I need more money. This is me. You go do it for me.
If Bryce doesn't want it, he is the one that says it doesn't go out there. You don't put that message out there, and it wouldn't be out there.
Have you ever had something that your wife asked you to do or to go to that you didn't want to go to, but you're just like, I don't really want it, but I understand, so let's do it? Like, that's but
I had an agent for 20 years. Your agent doesn't speak for you.
No, they work for you.
Your agent works for you. Your agent doesn't do anything without you giving the sign-off. So I'm sure Bryce Harper wants more money, wants an extension on the contract, and Scott Boras goes, let me handle it, Bryce. I know how to get this done. And then Bryce goes, go for it. He's not doing it without Bryce saying, go for it.
No. I'm not, and I'm not saying he's like gaslighting Bryce Harper into this either. I'm just saying that I can understand part of this push is Boras, and I think that was Jason Stark's point.
Oh, I think it's a major push is Boras.
Exactly. So anyone who's like, oh, well, it's Bryce completely telling Scott Boras what to say and how to say it and how to go about this, it's not all Harper. In this instance, for a lot of agents, yes. For Scott Boras, you also kind of have to treat him differently than your average run-of-the-mill agent, which Scott Lauber will talk to us about in just a little bit.
He's brilliant, man. Let's go to the newsmaker line because Scott Lauber joins us. He's brilliant, too. I don't know. Is Scott Lauber as brilliant at his job as Scott Boras is at his? It's probably razor-thin margins, Scott, and we appreciate you joining us this morning. I think Boras is a genius, though I sometimes question his methods and his tactics. I think the guy's a genius. You've observed him for years. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's really good at his job. There's a reason why he's the most famous agent in the sport and why his client list is a mile long and why guys want to be represented by him. So he's really good at it. He's been doing it for a really, really long time and very successfully. I don't know what the number is, but it's in the billions in the number of dollars in contracts that he's negotiated. He will tell you quite honestly, I've heard him say this a number of times, about how he invented the opt-out when he did the contract for Alex Rodriguez. We all know that he advised Bryce Harper to include an opt-out in the contract with the Phillies, and it was Bryce's choice to not include it. And so, and he had his reasons. I mean, one of them was that, really for 7 or 8 years there to begin his career in Washington, A lot of what he heard was, you know, are you going to sign long term? Where are they going to trade him to? You know, where's he going to go in free agency? Is he going to even get to free agency? All of those things. And he's talked a lot over the years about not wanting to have anything like that hang over him in Philadelphia. So he told Scott Boras, no opt-out. I want 13 years, and I want to put down roots, and I want to make a commitment to the city, and that's what he did. And I think that at this point in the contract, more than halfway in, is one of the problems for him in trying to reopen that deal, is that he doesn't have any opt-outs, which means he doesn't have any leverage. And so they've got to try to get some, and that's not easy to do.
So what's your evaluation hearing Scott Boras say that about Bryce Harper wanting to extend his legacy past the current contract? Where is that relationship between Harper and the Phillies contract-wise?
Well, I think it's a consistent message. You know, Scott Boras has been saying it now for several years, every time he's asked. And look, I mean, you know, I heard your lead in, and it's totally right. You know, he works for Bryce Harper, and I don't think puts a whole lot out there that Bryce does not say yes to. But at the same time, in fairness to Scott, like, he gets asked the question. So it's not like he just throws it out there to throw it out there. Like, I asked him specifically, and I asked him in relationship to the Christopher Sanchez renegotiation, which they did here very recently. And that's the reason I asked, is because when they renegotiated Sanchez's deal, the first thing I thought of was, oh, like, this is not going to escape, you know, Bryce's notice and Scott Boras's in particular notice that the Phillies did this, because they not only picked up the 2 option years that were there at the end of the Sanchez deal, but they tacked on 2 more years. And I think that's really what Bryce Harper wants here. His contract runs through age 38. He's been very open about saying, I want to play into my 40s. It doesn't take a genius to know that he doesn't get there right now. So, you know, what he wants, I think, ultimately are some years tacked on the end. They just did that with Sanchez. And so I asked specifically, hey, like, you know, does this bring this back up again? And his answer was consistent with what it has been all these years, which is Bryce wants to continue his legacy in Philly. He wants to play into his 40s. And essentially, you know, we've talked about it, and when the time comes, we'll make that happen. And I think that's fairly consistent with the Phillies' viewpoint. Like, I know John Middleton wants Bryce Harper to play with the Phillies for the rest of his career. And if his career takes him into his 40s, they're going to have to add years onto that. But, you know, if there's any discussion of reopening the contract to renegotiate the existing years, and I don't know that there is, but if that's part of it, then, you know, that's not something that they've been interested in wanting to do, because it's fairly unprecedented.
Scott, Zach Wheeler last night threw 61 pitches in his rehab start. The last time we spoke, you provided an update. From your perspective, has that timeline, is that still on track?
Yeah, I mean, so the plan is, well, going into last night, the plan was one more after that. And where and when next week, that's unclear. I think both Reading and Lehigh are both on the road. So he would presumably travel with one of those teams and make a start, and then they would reevaluate. I think they have wiggle room here. The 30-day rehab clock would enable them to give him one more, at least, I think, if they want. So a 5th one. And I think that they can do that. So I haven't spoken to anyone this morning to know whether that's been talked about or whether it's still, hey, let's read and react after the next one, which was planned. I mean, it was mixed again last night. Like, you know, the results were pretty good overall. You know, he gave up the 1 run. That was it. Not a whole lot of hard contact. But again, the velocity wasn't there. You know, I think when I talked to you guys the last time was about a week or 10 days ago, and I went to his first rehab start. I thought he pitched very well. I walked out of there thinking, like, if you didn't know his story and you didn't know the surgery that he had, you wouldn't have really known. The only thing that would have tipped you off was the velocity wasn't peak Zach Wheeler velocity. But okay, it was a cool night in Lehigh Valley. It was essentially his first spring training start. Not unusual for your velocity to not be there in your first one. Well, he just had his 3rd one, and it's consistent. It's consistently 92, 93. I think he touched 94 once last night that's not Zach Wheeler. He's more in the 95, 96 range, touching 97. So it's down two or three ticks from where it normally is. And I think the question that now needs to be asked, and no one knows the answer, but is this who he is, at least at the beginning, coming out of the surgery, where he's not the mid-90s Zach Wheeler that we've known all these years. He is also in his mid-30s now. And if you hadn't had that surgery and you're in your mid-30s, your velocity tends to maybe make a little bit of a dip at that age. But is that who he is? And, the fact that he has a sweeper, a curveball, he has a splitter, he has a slider, he has other ways to get hitters out. Is he more equipped than, let's say, your average power pitcher who throws, hard and relies on swings and misses? Is Zach Wheeler more equipped to get major league hitters out with in other ways? And we'll find that out as we go along here. But, 3 starts in, that's the downside of it, is that the velocity is not back to normal yet.
Scott Lauber's got Phillies Extra, too, if you don't know it. You know his fine coverage in the Philly Inquirer, but you might not know about Phillies Extra, and that's where you hear these stuff. It's available for you on Spotify and more, so you can get conversations that are a little more long form, in the podcast form, which is really a good pickup. You want to check that out, too. Scott, we got into a debate a little bit earlier today, and I'd love your input on it, is the idea of the impact of a hitting coach. It frustrates me that I think the Phillies' approach, I have said the word stinks at times, sort of stinks. And it frustrates me that I see the same stuff year after year after year. What impact do you think a hitting coach makes? And at some point, do you think the Phillies would ever even consider saying maybe they need another voice or another plan?
I think the hitting coach makes an impact. And I think in a few different ways. I mean, certainly there's the, hey, I noticed this, let's correct it, like mechanical change. But I also think a hitting coach can be kind of like an amateur psychologist a little bit now and then, because we all know that, these guys, it's the nature of the sport, right? Guys get into ruts and they'll go 0 for whatever, and it's hard to get out of it. And sometimes guys say the harder I work, the worse it gets. And I think the hitting coach is there for all of that, like to kind of talk them through it, to kind of make adjustments, to kind of be a teacher, but also kind of be a little bit of a psychologist and be inside their head. So I think it makes an impact. Now, I think like anything else over time, you have the same boss, you have the same coach, you have the same manager, you have the same whatever over time, and maybe the message gets a little, stale or repetitive or whatever, and sometimes a change is good. And I think a lot of times in baseball, especially when you see a hitting coach or a pitching coach get fired, it's less a reflection on the job they're doing than it is that maybe they've been there a while, or, maybe they're a scapegoat in a lot of cases, right? Because changes have to get made and you can't change the whole team, and maybe you don't want to fire the manager, and so you make a change like that. I don't think they're anywhere near doing that on the hitting side. I know Rob Thompson knows Kevin Long really well. They've worked together for a long time. Rob Thompson often calls Kevin Long the best hitting coach in the business, and I think truly believe that. And I think there are players out there on the Phillies and off the Phillies who believe that he's really good at this. Dylan Moore, who was a free agent in the offseason, specifically signed a minor league contract with the Phillies because he told me he wanted to work with Kevin Long. So, there are players who gravitate to him because of how good he is at this job. And, I think that they're gonna stick with him because I think overall they've been a good offensive team during his time here. The frustrating thing about them is that when they go into a slump, they go into a slump as a team. They tend to come out of it as a team too. But, normally you have maybe 1 or 2 guys going, and 2 or 3 guys are not, and the 2 guys who are kind of carry you for a while. That doesn't tend to happen with them. Like they'll go through these stretches where they just don't hit as a group, and then they snap out of it. So, San Francisco's a tough place. They've historically not had a whole lot of success there, not hit a lot there. I could probably go back through my files and find, a half a dozen over the last 7 or 8 years stories coming out of San Francisco about how they've not scored runs and they're going to shake up the offense and all of that stuff. So I think the first thing they'll do is make a few lineup tweaks tomorrow, I would expect, and see if that works. But also, look, let's also remember, guys, that, for a few weeks there in January, they were looking to add right-handed thump to their lineup, and they thought they did that with Bo Bichette. He ended up signing with the Mets. So they didn't get that hitter that they were looking for, and that's why even 8 games in, or 12 games in, I say, all right, well, like they haven't hit as a group, and does that mean that they're just kind of, feeling through it early in the season, or are they a hitter short, and is that something they're going to have to address at the deadline?
Scott, love it. Welcome home to the homestand, and hopefully they can get things on a roll here, and we appreciate you joining us this morning. Have a great weekend.
Sounds good. You too, guys.
There you go. Scott
Thanks,
Lauber
Scott.
joined us here on Kincade and Salciunas, which is great. You get some good information.
Scott's outstanding.
Yeah,
I really enjoy his work.
His podcast is good, too. It is good. So go to Inquirer.com, and you can not only do you get the content in the written form, but you get the audio form, too. Just like you get to listen to Andrew DiCecco, as I will sometimes be hitting the Dunkin' Donuts out in Westchester for my wife's coffee with 6 creams in it, which I don't even understand. Are you drinking coffee or cream? And I'll be stopping and I'll be listening to you on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 8 a.m.
Hey, and that's much appreciated.
You get some good draft stuff. I was, and then I know where to then go down the rabbit holes later. And you end up making me, use an hour and a half of my time because I get the earworms of names of you that you say and things like that. If you've got questions about the draft for Andrew DiCecco, you can text them into us.
Yeah.
610-632-0975. And later on, before the end of the show, we're going to get to your rapid-fire questions on the draft for Andrew DiCecco because he's got 2 weeks left to exam night.
And if there's leftovers, I will do a mailbag segment on the show.
Wow.
What a guy.
Hey, how about that?
Making sure every question
He's
gets
going to make
answered.
sure that they get answered. And remember, every Saturday and Sunday morning, you get it at 8 o'clock. So you get a good little, be able to check that, check that one out. What's your biggest takeaway there from Scott Lauber? Biggest takeaway. I mean, to me, he's a very patient man in his in his coverage. I don't know. I don't know that. I think that he expected exactly what he's seeing.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like
that's so disappointing to me, though.
Why is it disappointing? How could you have possibly come into this season expecting them to look different?
Okay, that would just tell me then. That tells me then. You're preaching the gospel to the wake it up in October, folks.
Yeah. We all said we understand why folks feel that way. You said you understand why folks feel that way.
No, I understand why people feel that way. But the thing is, I do believe that athletes can improve. Right. Well, I have this belief system that guys being paid 20, 25, 30, 10 million a year can find a way to improve their skill set, improve their approach, improve it so they don't do the same stupid crap that they did the last 3 years. I do believe that can happen.
But your nucleus of star players is a year older, and you can't necessarily – it doesn't carry over always. You can't just bank on them being able to kind of flip the switch and like, oh, they're going to be better now.
And the young kids aren't that young, right? They've been here for a while. Baumstott, Marsh, they've been here for a minute. Like Crawford's the only real new position player, and Adolis Garcia.
And Scott and them and Marsh and Bohm are not young.
Exactly.
They're not young players.
Going into the season, you should have had this healthy expectation of what you're going to see. And what you need to do is you need to, and I'm not saying you. This is the
tell me.
royal you.
No. Tell it to me. Look me in the eyes and tell me.
And forever. Put on your big boy pants and deal with it because this is what the team is. And you know what? We're going to get to August and September, and this team is going to be in postseason position, and they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know that they'll win the division. I did not pick them to win the division, but they're going to be.
By the way, you were the only one that didn't of our show.
Yeah. With all of these issues, the conversation in October is going to be exactly what we thought it was going to be. And they're going to be there, and we're going to ask those questions at that time. And for better or for worse, this is what, with the long-term contracts, they've roped themselves into.
It sounds like Kincade and Dombrowski this morning.
I'm not running the team.
No, but it sounds like Kincade and Dombrowski.
I can only react.
That sounds like his message of just, and to me, that is, if I'm John Middleton and I'm hearing Connor Thomas this morning, I'm losing my mind with what I'm investing financially in this team, and I'm hearing that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying your opinion is uneducated or anything. But if I'm John Middleton, I am driving right off the road on Montgomery Avenue. I am saying, are you kidding me? I'm investing how much in this club? And nothing can be better?
And you're getting a division winner potentially and a playoff team and one of the few teams in baseball that could rival one of the great dynasties that we're seeing in the history of the sport. there's only so much you can ask for that's under your control. And the Phillies have hit that cap. And the question is their cap with these players good enough to summit the mountaintop of beating the Dodgers or playing enough good baseball in October to win? And that question won't be answered in April.
We're going to see if anybody has made a move on winning those Flyers tickets for Monday night as the Flyers get ready to take on Detroit tonight. And Andrew Tacheko answers your questions as we count down towards the draft. Kincade Salciunas continues here on 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Eyeing up a state robbery. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Playoff momentum is gaining steam for the Flyers, even with the team being off yesterday. Kevin Kurtz from The Athletic joined Kincade Salciunas yesterday and spoke about a potential matchup he has his eyes on if the Flyers get to the dance.
I don't think anybody should be printing the playoff tickets just yet, but could they beat the Penguins in a 7-game series the way they're playing now? Absolutely. It's going to be interesting for them to watch if they do make the playoffs because they're playing right now as well as anybody in the NHL.
The hottest team in the NHL is back on the ice tonight as the Flyers are going to battle the Red Wings right here on 97.5 The Fanatic with puck drop being for 7 p.m. A quiet Phillies offense was no help to Aaron Nola as the bats have been quiet for the past 20 innings. Yes, 20 innings without scoring a run. Hopefully the bats wake up this Friday as the Phillies are making their way back home to have a weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Phillies will throw out Jesus Luzardo first Friday night with first pitch being at 7:05. In the NBA, the Sixers are currently in the 8th seed with an opportunity to improve their playoff positioning tonight against the Houston Rockets. They'll have to do it without Cam Payne as he's been ruled out with a right hamstring strain. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is brought to you by the Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about your youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCAA national nonprofit develops better athletes and better people through sports. Info at positivecoach.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
I have friends who still have not picked up a Bagster. You need one, Andrew? You got any dirt around the house? Anything got to get rid of?
I could always use it. I think everybody could. Why not?
And I could set one up. So that's all you need to know. You carry it out under your arm. I could set one up. So that just shows even a simpleton could do it. They rejected that part of the ad. They said, don't use that. But even a simpleton could set up a Bagster.
Phillies might need it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to throw Oracle Park and maybe the Phillies offense in the Bagster right now. Just no more San Francisco series and hit the damn baseball. Is it that hard?
May I just suggest, you are a big baseball fan.
I like it, yeah.
Oracle Park is a absolute must visit.
Oh, beautiful ballpark.
San Francisco, not anymore. But a must visit if you're doing if there's a way you can do that when you're in San Fran, do it.
Oh, for sure.
Download the poop app so you know to avoid the needles, the syringes, and the poop in the streets. But that's a real thing. If you don't know it, it's a real thing.
You're really selling it.
It is, yeah. But not Oracle Park though. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just don't like when the Phillies play there.
Like that,
you'll love San Francisco. I enjoy it.
I think
have
that and
family
PNC.
there.
I think that and PNC are the best. Like as far as just sitting in a park and you got to go to Dodger Stadium.
Petco.
Even though Dodger Stadium, I think Petco. Like to me, sitting in Petco is better than sitting in Dodger Stadium. Like, and that sounds blasphemous, but Dodger Stadium is a hassle.
The worst one was Tropicana Field for me.
Oh, it's awful.
Especially when there's a full moon out at night. You see that guy who fell down trying to get the foul ball and pants fell around his ankles?
Oh, man.
It's a good video.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So, all right. First of all, do we have any other people trying to get the Flyers tickets?
Oh, we
for
do.
Monday night's game. Can we hear some of those on the Davis Honda text line? Because your voice memos come in via the Davis Honda text line, and we thank the folks at Davis Honda. They are absolutely awesome out of Burlington.
Oh, my bad.
It's all right.
Hey, guys, this is Jared from Maple Shade. I'm here to tell y'all you need to get flyered up. The orange and black is back in the city of Philadelphia. We're the hottest team in the NHL. It's going to continue tonight in Detroit. The Flyers are going back to the playoffs, and I just hope we get those nasty, stinking Penguins in the first round. We're going to beat them so bad, we're going to send Crosby to the retirement home. After that, it's house money. Whatever happens, happens. But this team's on the right track. We're going to shock the world. Flyers hockey's back in the city of brotherly love. Let's go, Flyers.
Okay, I love Jared. That didn't beat the first one.
I got one for you, John.
Oh, we have one who's going to challenge?
Still, we appreciate Jared. Jared sounds like
I love Jared.
I like
love
what you
that.
say about the Penguins, too.
Yeah, you love that. I saw
want
you. I won a Flyers-Penguins series to me is just spectacular.
Let's go.
The hatred. Let's hear another challenger.
Tonight isn't just another game. It's proof we're still here. We lived through rebuild after rebuild. We sat through the tough years, the confusing moves, the seasons full of unknown names and unanswered questions. We watched frustration pile up, but we never walked away. Because being a Flyers fan was never about easy wins. It's about grit, effort, and heart. This city shows up. This fan base endures. And every hard season makes nights like tonight mean that much more. Tonight the standings don't matter. The past doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the crest on the front, the fight on the ice, and the belief that something better is being built right in front of us. So be loud, be proud, be relentless. We didn't survive all those rebuilds to be quiet now. Let's go, Flyers!
Okay, if that can be beaten, who is that? Do we have a name on that one?
That is Matt from Allentown.
That dude, you can't. You can't bring your own Rocky Bells.
Yes, I can.
That's unfair to everybody.
We have no restrictions.
I like the authenticity of the one that we had at 8:30. Where he practically lost his voice.
He was
reading
great.
This was good, but he was reading his script.
Matt really
We'll have to take a vote. No, I love that.
Matt, okay, so we got the two that are in contender there. If we get, you still have time. Get your voice memos in. So the first one was that we liked earlier.
That was Jake Lambertville.
Okay, so it's up between Jake and Lambertville and Matt right now.
And we can have more additions. It's only 9:34. We've
Absolutely.
got till
Get
we
them
get
on
off
in.
the air. But if it comes down to those two, I guess we'll have to take a full show vote.
We will. We'll take a full show vote.
People are fired up.
And it might be Sean Rodman in the back today who has to cast the deciding vote.
Oh,
he may have to.
Be the bad boy.
Lock in, Sean.
All right, let's see. Do we have anything on the text line, some questions for Andrew DeCecco? Because when it comes to the draft, everyone loves being able to pick Andrew DeCecco's brain as much as I like doing that.
Yeah, we do. We actually have one that came in specifically for Andrew, and it's targeting the offensive line.
Sure.
They say, "Hi, Andrew. I've honestly heard nothing about Drew Kendall, Miles Hinton, or Cameron Williams since the Eagles drafted them last season. Can you give us an update on some of those guys there? Also, I don't really understand why everyone is so set on the Eagles drafting more offensive linemen again this year when they already took Kendall and the other two tackles in Hinton and Williams. Can you give us some insight about those guys that were selected last year?"
Yeah, we'd love to, and I appreciate the question there, but they drafted all three of those guys respectfully on day 3. So if they pan out, I think Drew Kendall has a really bright future. He was my favorite day 3 pick for the Eagles based on fit and ability. I was on with Connor on day 3. I remember saying that. But if any of them pan out in a major way, that's a huge win for the Eagles. You need to be able to draft the heir apparent for Lane Johnson. You're certainly not banking on a day 3 pick, and it doesn't always pan out. I think when you look at where they're sitting in the first round and even at pick 54, that gives them a really good opportunity to reinforce the offensive line and set them up for the future. Now, you asked me about Drew Kendall, Miles Hinton, and Cameron Williams. Drew Kendall is a player that the Eagles are high on. And this year, if he makes the leap from being an inactive to being the primary backup to Cam Jurgens, that's a big win. And I thought he did really good things in his first start, which was the season finale. I have no concerns over him. Miles Hinton and Cameron Williams, for me, and we're way early in this, it feels like either or will make the roster. Fred Johnson's also back. If you draft a tackle, that certainly complicates things. Cameron Williams, I think if he was in the draft this year, you can make an argument he would be a day 2 selection. He was really raw when he came out, and he was viewed as a developmental prospect. Didn't start, but he played at least 50 snaps in the season finale and impressed me. I thought he acquitted himself well. I think he has a good future as a backup. Could eventually be the Fred Johnson swing tackle of the future. Miles Hinton, we'll have to wait and see. He's a little bit older. I think he projects more as a right tackle. When his practice window was opened, I thought there was a chance that they would get him some snaps, and that would have helped him in his development. But I think if I'm viewing Miles Hinton and Cameron Williams alongside one another, I have a little bit more confidence that Cameron Williams will be the one who emerges.
We got another one for it there from the line there?
Yeah, this is over on the defensive side of the ball. This is Chris from Cherry Hill. He's wondering, since the Eagles traded away Sidney Brown and then lost Reed Blankenship, who do you think they could target for a safety in either an early part of the draft or later on?
Well, I don't know that they would go early for a safety because traditionally that's not a position that they value, but there are a lot of mid-round options that I believe would be a good fit. Zakee Wheatley from Penn State, 6'3", rangy player, would ideally complement what they already have in Drew Makuba, who's built for the modern game, meaning that he can cover a lot of ground, he has good ball skills. I look at Michael Taft from Texas, who is a player that's played a ton of football for them, smart. I remember speaking to him at the podium. He's picked up a lot of knowledge from Drew Makuba. They were teammates. I like him as a late 4, early 5th round pick. And then you have Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina. He's played nickel. He's played safety. He's sort of that hybrid type of player. 8 interceptions over 3 seasons, so really productive in terms of ball skills, and he hits really hard, plays a little bit bigger than his size would indicate. I like him as a mid-round option as well.
That's the position when I look at the team for this year. I know there's a balance of like depth and what you need now because the Eagles have been so good at building their roster, not through the draft, but then also making sure they don't have to, like you brought up earlier.
Right.
But as far as 2026 is concerned, safety is the number 1 position group that I am worried about on this entire team. And I know
when you say worried, can you put a degree of worry? Because, I mean, that's what I'm wondering about.
So 10 is
you
like...
say worry. Okay, yeah. Like if you were to say like a 1 to 10.
10 is like guaranteed they stink. Like this is a major, major problem. I would probably go like 6.5.
Okay.
Marcus Epps coming back. He stabilized things a little bit. He's played a lot of football. Before last season, he came back to the Eagles having 45 starts under his belt. That should give a little bit more confidence, and it lessens the urgency, but they still need to add a reinforcement to that room to give them another young player to grow alongside Drew Makuba, in my estimation.
Yeah, like edge rusher, I know the guys that are going to be out there on day 1, and while they might not be the best group in football, I'm familiar with their game. For safety, outside of Makuba, and even with him, I don't really know what these guys are as 17-game starters. And with that being such an important position in a Fangio defense, that just really scares me. That's just
Makuba can be a headliner. They still lack for that headliner at the edge rusher position, someone who can assume the lion's share of the snaps, who's going to command a lot of attention from opposing offensive lines, and then it allows Jalix Hunt to feast. It allows Nolan Smith, when he comes in, to be that change of pace option, and everybody can kind of slot in to roles in which they're more ideally suited.
Looks like it's going to be a busy couple weeks for you.
It's interesting.
Oh, it will be.
The Makuba-Campbell thing is weird. Those guys both have big roles, and we have major questions. Not in a bad way, but in more of a we need more data type of way. I like that you like Makuba as much as you do, because I still have things that I need to see.
I loved him in college.
You remember, Connor, when we were doing pre-draft shows, even here,
wanted him.
Makuba, I said he's going to be a late 2. A lot of people said he's too small. He's a day 3 guy. Well, he went late 2.
We're going to get a poll question results coming up. More of your texts in before the end of the show. The Flyers and the Sixers both need to get big wins tonight on the road. What do their chances look like? We discuss it coming up. Our 4 hours is about to round out, but I know Middays with Marks is fired up and ready to go at the top of the hour here on 97.5, The Fanatic. Look, let's say you're getting ready to move, or you're organizing your garage, your attic. Well, then that's where you need a Bagster, our 9 a.m. sponsor. The dumpster in a bag. It's so easy to use. Whatever your cleanup plans are, so whether you're cleaning out that garage, Joe, or whether you're going to get that attic cleaned out, or you're doing a remodel, I'm telling you, the Bagster can take on all the mess. And it's so simple. You buy it, you fill it, you schedule the collection, and it'll be gone. And what's great about it is you can buy it today. You could fill it, set it up and fill it 2 weeks from now because there's no time limits. It's completely on demand. And then it's gone. You've finally gotten rid of all the stuff that you've been talking about getting rid of. And everybody's house needs to do that. Go through that process. It's called spring cleaning for a reason. Oh, and by the way, it's spring. It's the 3 cubic yard dumpster in a bag. You can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, and local home improvement stores, just $29.99. So go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, go grab one. Clean it up with the Bagster. I'm telling you, it's a dumpster in a bag.
Kincade Salciunas, 6 to 10.
Flyers signed Jack Berglund. Then Connor was like, should I be excited?
Yeah, tell us about him.
You should be excited. He got the 3-year entry-level contract. He's coming in. So there was there were a lot of people going, will Berglund come over? Is he looking to come over and everything? I bet you the last month and a month and a half influenced his decision to want to come over and to be part of this. Youngster coming on over, another talented forward. What I would tell you is he was the second round pick in 2024. 2024 draft. 2 drafts ago.
Weren't you there?
Second round pick. That wasn't the one in Vegas. No, that wasn't the one down the shore. That was the 2025 draft. I think down the shore, wasn't it?
Was that the one that you were at? I thought you were at the Vegas one.
I can't remember. No, I was out at the Vegas one too, but I wasn't at second day. I was at a blackjack table that day.
Gotcha.
So I don't want to do it. He's from Sweden, and there was a lot of talk. Is he coming over?
He's not getting the Martone treatment of joining the big club, right? He's going to be with the
No. He's going to be with the. But I'm telling you, the kid's 19. He's a youngster.
Hey, so is Martone.
Step
up, Jack Berglund. Welcome to Philly.
But he's a center. But he's a center.
Yeah, you need that.
And it's one of the things that I talked about. He is a highly skilled center. Some will question his size. Some will question things like that. But he's a highly skilled center. I'm just very happy for it. Very happy that you can tell he's going to be part of the mix next year. He'll be a Flyer next year.
Yeah.
Which just means...
Hey, the future is bright.
Yeah, more youth. That's good.
Size is a problem. You could always call Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. If that's going to be an issue.
So what is the poll result, Austin? Or at least the results as we have them right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been pretty steady that, people are loving on the Flyers in their future. The question was, has the Flyers' recent surge led to you to believe that they have a better future in the next 5 years than the Phillies? 76% saying yes and 24% saying no.
Where do you think, Andrew DeCecco, where do you think that would have been 2 months ago? The poll. The
Maybe
Flyers
flipped?
That's what I wonder.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was
Phillies favored.
When we made it this morning, I wondered if it was going to be recency bias.
Yeah.
That people are just...
Well, that's a fair assumption, yeah.
Of course it is. Everything we do is recency bias.
But 3/4? That's pretty awesome. Thank you, Dr. Avidan Appel.
Yeah, people are in on the Flyers, and they have a lot of young talent. I just like the proven veteran stuff more than the young players that still have stuff to prove. That's me personally.
I just think the Phillies are going to be so old.
Yeah.
4 guys will be.
We'll
see the
Phillies contract situation. And for those who don't understand it, if the sport goes to a salary cap, don't let anyone tell you, well, all the contracts are just going to be, grandfathered in, so it won't matter. That is complete and utter BS. The contracts will be grandfathered in, but the Phillies will still be paying a penalty for it because of the contracts that they signed to old guys. Like, it's ridiculous. There's going to be a salary cap. It's going to happen. The owners are not going to let them play baseball again because every other sport has done this. And by the way, every other sport has seen the majority of their players make more money because of it. The guys who are the bottom 60% of rosters end up being much more rich. It's the top of rosters that make less money when the salary caps come in.
Yeah, but those top of roster guys, they get a say too. So
yeah, but they won't be able to outvote the guys that.
But
which always what happens.
They'll be able to keep the fight, which is why the 2027 season is very much in jeopardy.
That's what's going to happen. That they're going to hold out. There's going to be a fight, and then when it comes to it, the guys who are making no money are going to say, the Bryce Harpers of the world who stand in the commissioner's face and say, we don't want to hear your crap about it. Get out of here. And he didn't say that, by the way. We don't want to hear your, get out of here. The 60% of the guys in the room, 70% of the guys in the room that will never even dream of making that much money, they're going, no, which is what Castellanos reportedly said. Let's hear the man out because their lives are affected. They're all will make more money when the salary cap comes in. The bottom guys on the roster, the last 15 guys on the roster will make considerably more money when a salary cap comes in. But the top guys don't give a flip about them.
Well,
they don't care about them. They care about their own wallets.
I don't know that the top guys should. And if the lesser player, not the lesser players, but the lower paid players have a majority of the say, then they'll win that argument.
Because it's one vote. That's what happened in every other sport.
That's how it works. So you should only vote for yourself.
Yes. and they're going to get voted out on this one.
Yeah, you should always vote for yourself. You can't speak for anyone.
Hey, what do we got, Austin, on the text line? Thanks to our friends at Davis Honda.
Yeah, so staying with the defensive side of the ball, this is Jeff from Fishtown. He said, Andrew, last year I wanted the Eagles to target a defensive end with one of their early round draft picks, and, well, that didn't take place. So what do you think in regards to this year?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of value there. If they don't go with one at pick 23, you could certainly get one at 54. I mentioned Malachi Lawrence as a player I really like. If they were to go with one in the first round, Keldrick Falk out of Auburn would be the player to highlight.
Keldrick. He's got some burst.
He does.
Got some
he's young,
burst.
too. I think he's just about to turn 21.
Was he 21?
Yeah, super athletic.
Hard to defend.
6'6". Yeah, it fits the system.
He's a beast.
Love that. I mean, there's a lot of options, it sounds like, for the Eagles that we'd be happy with. And I trust Andrew's eyes and evaluation. You've had these deep cuts or the second days or even the first days nailed down for years now once we've been talking to you about it. So take this word, maybe not as gospel, but the next close thing, I don't know what that would be.
Tell me about the Sixers at the Houston Rockets tonight. Now, the other night, you predicted a win over the Spurs. I thought you made very sound reasoning. You seem very cautious tonight, like you're not thinking this is going to go well.
I don't think it matters, honestly. Like I do, and I don't. You have to try and win these games because there's no way to get out of the play-in if you don't win out. But I don't think that they're going to get the help they need either way. So it's kind of in that spot where it's a war of futility. Now, what is important is seeing how this team, with everybody healthy, plays together as they continue trying to develop. Because if you do get in a win-and-go-home play-in game, you better win. So
I think if they win tonight, they're winning their last two. And so they're going to get to 46, and then Toronto's going to get to 46, and they're going to win the tiebreaker.
Or Toronto.
So I think they're
47.
in. No, I don't think they're getting to 47.
Well,
no, I don't think they can. Toronto get to 47?
They have one game up on the Sixers right now with the same remaining.
So
if they both win out, Toronto is a 6.
I don't have a good feeling about this.
You don't.
I think they needed that win.
Well, you want the 7 seed to at least to try to play in, but you even heard Jimmy Lynam the other day. When I asked about the 7 and the 8, and Amy was looked like she had sour milk because Jimmy Lynam agreed with me. Yeah, you don't want to play Boston. This team has no shot to beat Boston. And the Flyers tonight, you'll hear them on MMR. Sixers will be on voicemail.
Yeah, we got to pick our winner.
Oh yeah, the winner.
We have the two options.
Who's going?
I'm going to vote Rocky Bell's guy.
I'm going the other guy who was screaming and lost his voice.
I'm going Rocky Bell's guy.
I'm going Rocky.
All right, there it is.
Look,
Sorry
I tried.
We just double teamed.
What's the name again for that one?
That was Matt from Allentown.
Matt, you're the winner. You got Flyers tickets for Monday night. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Flyers tonight with Detroit. You'll hear it on MMR. Sixers taking on Houston. You'll hear it here on the Fanatic. Tomorrow morning, Connor will lead you through it with Amy Fadul in.
Yes.
As the weekend goes. I'll hopefully TSA will be easy today. And a little flight and go to a nice wedding. And I'll see you on Monday with Andrew back from vacation, too. Andrew Checo, thanks for being here, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Great to be with you.
Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Sean Rodman. Thanks, Shukri. Everybody, have a great day. And I know Middays with Marks comes your way next here on The Fanatic.